to talk a little bit about our pilot with SDS. And let me just do this for you, sorry.
The session's gonna be 5 minutes. I'll have cue you with how much time.
Thank you. We will try to be pretty quick since we talked to some of you all about it already. So my name is Demi. I'm with the Service Design Studio. We are inside of the Mayor's Office for Economic Opportunity. Next. There we go. So we create evidence-based programs and innovative methods to reduce poverty and increase equity. As we have a lot of different departments within the Mayor's Office of Economic Opportunity, from research to data to evaluation technology. For us, we are building the city's design capacity to leverage service design tools and tactics. We are developing best practices for centering communities, and we're partnering with agencies. To sum it up, we basically partner with other city agencies. We try to bring community members to the table to see how we can improve on services. This could be anything from housing to food scarcity to homelessness, everything. Our goal is really to bring community members to the table with CBOs, with city agencies, to see if we can figure out how to fix whatever the problem is that is brought to the table. Our team consists of 6 folks, myself, Cara, and Victor. We also have Lindsay Richardson, Chris Martinez, and Deanna, who are also part of our team. It'll be mainly us 3. It'll be mainly us 3 working on this project. And you're probably asking, what is civic service design? It's a practice of creating, better understanding, and improving upon programs at any stage by focusing on the actual experiences with those involved. Our goal is to bring people to the table and hear about what issues are they having, how do they think it can be fixed, where do they think the problems are coming in at. Hearing from people who are actually being affected by the issues at hand is usually the best way to kind of design new services. This also involves bringing in city agencies who are designing these services as well, and community-based organizations who work with community members. So why are we here? So Service Design Studio was approached by Community Board 12 to gauge how we could support you in building tools and strategies to engage with more residents. This project will be 3 to 4 months. The completion date will be mid-August, and the goal of the project will be supporting Community Board 12 with tools, practices, and activities to engage community members and keep them engaged within the community board activities. Our next steps will be individual research that we've already started. A lot of desktop research. I have learned a lot about this District 12 so far. We would love to take walking tours, site visits, and participation in meetings, the same that we're doing now. And then we want to get involved in some participatory research. This means involving you within research. This is interviews, focus groups, one-on-one interviews, surveys, walking tours. If y'all want to give us a tour, please let us know. This is all a part of our research and just kind of understanding not just the location, but also understanding the people that live here. So we have a survey. It's only 7 questions. It'll probably only take you 5 minutes. It's more of an introductory thing of, we want to know who you are, how you've been engaging with the community board so far. What are some of the issues that you've seen when trying to connect with community members and residents? If you can fill us out, and please also let us know, if you would be interested in being contacted for an interview. This will not be the last time that we will come to a meeting. We'll definitely be back. I'll definitely be back, just because I don't like sitting in the office all day. So if you have any events in the community that you want me to come to, it could be a church, it can be at a barbecue, whatever it is, please just contact our office. My email is somewhere in here, dcanty@nycopportunity.nyc.gov. Hopefully I finished with enough time so y'all can ask whatever questions that you got.
Are there board members that have a question for our team at Service Design Studio?
It's free. That was the first question we got when we were on the Zoom call. A lot of work that we do is free. We work with city agencies, and really this is how we keep our lights on.
Is it services that you guys are trying to redesign or like,
Yeah.
just regular service?
I will give an example, like if someone needs food stamps and they're having issues getting in contact with someone, they're having issues getting in contact with the caseworker, they're having issues getting down to their appointments, and this is becoming an issue for everybody who was going down for those services. The department that runs that might come to us and say, hey, how can we improve on this? How can we improve on our attendance? How can we improve on the acceptance rate of people coming through? We will work with them. We will work with the folks who are actually using the services and try to figure out like what that looks like. Why is it happening? We do a ton of research. We do interviews. We try to take those interviews. I always like to describe it as a detective who's looking at a wall of Post-its and the strings are attached. We're taking all these different things. It could be statistics, interviews, people's experiences, and we try to figure out what are the common threads that might be causing an issue. No problem.
Question on the survey is ask if it can be available for interviews. For board members, we have to ask the chair's permission for interview. How that process we
That's a good point, and I should have shared that. So this is a part of a study, right? And so, yeah, anyone who wants to participate from the board body, but also from there's gonna be a community survey is welcome. So this is part of being, we've all spoken at length over the years about community outreach, engagement, how do we get more participants? We're trying to study that, right? So we need everybody to participate in it as much as possible and into the survey. Jim and Lou.
like, I'm a parliamentarian, by the way. I would comment on that. As a fellow American, you can talk to anyone you want about anything you want, including these people. However, you may not claim this meeting to the board. That's where the restriction is. And the normally part of this process and then you can stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Don't forget the QR code email to the board members
Yes.
as well.
So that'll be out on the newsletter and the listserv. If you want, we can back it up and leave it there.
Oh, yeah.
And then let me just make sure there's no one on Zoom that got a question. All right, cool. So no Zoom questions. So thank you, Cara, Debbie, like, I have to big up. And just as a quick aside, I know we're on timing, that I had reached out to them around like our branding desires, and then I learned like, wait, this exists. And the fact that this is a free service with the goal to improve city agencies is astounding. And I think what's really monumental is that we're the first community board to partner with them. So this is a true pilot. And I think that based on the results that come up, what we can implement, we can really be an example for other boards. All right, and then we're gonna move on without any other questions to Ebenezer's, our district manager's report. If you give me a quick second so I can, and I'm gonna stop the quick share again. We'll be disseminating this online. All right, Ebenezer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Always is a pleasure being here as your district manager and report. First, I want to say welcome to all the new board members. Thank you for applying and being here and work with us. I'm looking forward to have a close interaction with you at the next month's training meeting that we're planning to have with you. My first update is the sidewalk shed in front of 600 West 168th Street. As you know, this building is owned by New York City Department of Health, and the Health Department reported last week that the DCAS approved the plans for the facade repairs, and the Department of Health is seeking for funds to start the repairs work. These shed are there for at least 9 years. People from all board members and people from the community are requesting what's going on, what is not being removed. And we have been advocating through the district service cabinet meeting with this. Now it's a matter of funds for the Department of Health to rebuild the facade. New York City Department of Transportation installed the surveillance cameras last month, at the 191st Street Tunnel for the 34th precinct to monitor the tunnel activities. However, it was reported last week that such cameras were vandalized. Last week at the district service cabinet meeting, I started requesting who is responsible for the maintenance and when we're going to have those cameras back in service. Right now in the office, we are working on the preparation of the fiscal year 23 closing. As you know, closing the fiscal year involves a lot of things with our budget, a lot of reports, and a lot of scrutiny for the controller's office. And the calendar, committee chairs, you have the calendar in your package and we send it to you. Make sure that the day of your meeting is correct. Make sure that your agenda items are correct. Let me know if any change need to be done because this calendar need to go out by the end of this week. Thank you very much. This is the end of my report. God bless you all.
All right, thank you, Ebenezer. Are there any questions for Ebenezer from our board members on Zoom first? No, I see nods. I appreciate those nods a lot. All right, what about in person, folks? In the room? All right, so seeing none and hearing none, Ebenezer, for our committee chairs, he has left you. Oh, Jade, sorry about that. I almost missed you. Jay, go on ahead and unmute and we can hear you.
I just had a quick question. You said you only sent the calendar to the chairs?
The draft calendar?
The draft calendar is being sent out, yes. We're gonna send that again.
No, I just wanted to flag that Daryl told us he was out on vacation for the task force, so I wasn't sure if we're gonna be meeting next month, and I don't know if you put that on the calendar. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, we figured it out with him via email. He said he's gonna be in contact with us.
Okay, great. All right, excellent. Thank you. Right. Yeah, you want to come up and do it? Oh, no, you have it on the computer, sorry. All right, so this is how we're gonna do. Okay. Sorry, yeah, I totally skipped that, sorry. It was to announce that the public session is now officially closed, excuse me. All right, so we're going to start with reports from our elected officials and their reps. That's one second. Folks, give me a minute to pull up the list here. Oh, yeah, go on. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna just say the order now as we kind of move between Zoom and in person. So we have Jamila Sandoval from Carmen de la Rosa's office. Jamila, where?
Just a reminder, it's 3 minutes.
Yes, I'm here. I just didn't know if you wanted me to wait for you to go down the list.
Go ahead, Jamila.
Oh, okay, thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jamila from Councilmember Carmen de la Rosa's office. Congrats on having your hybrid meeting. It's going great so far. The sound is impeccable. Just wanted to say that. So just a few things to report on our behalf. One of the great things that has been happening recently that many of you guys might know of is unfortunately the Rent Guidelines Board has announced a 2% to 7% range of upcoming rental increases for rent stabilized tenants. And given the eviction rate that has been increasing since January 2022, after the eviction moratorium expired, there has been an increase, obviously, in amount of people who have been sleeping in DHS shelters, and we're in the middle of one of the biggest housing crises that the city has ever had. So our district, who has one of the largest share of rent-stabilized buildings in New York City, the 5% increase that was approved in October 2022 alone has been, significantly challenging for many of our constituents. So Carmen de la Rosa, as council member of District 10, has introduced a resolution of 546 is the number, calling for a rent rollback of 5% for the 1 and 2 year leases beginning on or after October 1st of this year, 2023, and on or before September 30th, 2024. So I just wanted to share that. In terms, we also were able to present this in the Housing Committee of Community Board 12. Tiana Diaz, who is our Budget and Legislative and Deputy Chief of Staff, was able to give a rundown as to how we came up to the decision for this legislation and how we can get the support from the community board as well. In terms of within the district, Carmen De La Rosa was able to host a mental health awareness walk with different elected officials, and Drip Sweat, Long Live Our Butterfly, and students of Yeshiva University, which is their School of Social Work. And we were also able to participate in NYSA's Nurses Week, attend multiple career days throughout the district within schools. And she was also able to be the keynote speaker at the Bronx Week Labor Sorority. Upcoming events, we have Movie Under the Stars. We had one last week on Friday. We have one tomorrow at Fort Tryon Duggan Lawn. That's going to be The Paws of Prairie is the movie. It's going to be at 7:30. Then we have another one on the 31st in Highbridge Park, and that's going to be for the movie Vivo, and that's at 7:30 as well. And then eventually we're going to also have one in June on Amsterdam Avenue and the West 189th Street, and that's Saturday, June 17th at 7:30 as well. We're also having our Mother's Day event this Friday from 6 thank you, from 6 to 8.
Thank you, Jamila. You can also throw into the chat any of the links or information that you shared. And of course, if you email it, we'll make sure that folks throughout the listserv are able to receive it. Next up, we have Oliver Betances from Councilmember Abreu's office.
Yes, thank you, Catherine, and good evening all. So my name is Oliver. I'm with the Councilmember Sean Abreu's office, and I'll get started with some of the updates we have, starting with the size discrimination bill. And so our city made history last week as the Councilmember Abreu legislated a bill to ban height and weight discrimination in housing, employment, and public accommodations. We are now the largest municipality in the country and the world to protect against size discrimination. This is more than a legal remedy for a rampant civil rights violation, which affects millions of Americans and over 2 million New Yorkers a year. This is about changing the culture and the ways we think about weight. It is about curbing stigmas and stereotypes and ensuring all New Yorkers can live and work with dignity and respect. We are looking forward to Mayor Adams signing this piece of legislation into law on Friday, and for our city to become a model for anti-discrimination laws. Excuse me. Moving on to the right to counsel topic. And so this next month is a pivotal moment for the right to counsel as the city gets ready to pass its $107 billion budget. Councilmember Abreu has made it his fight to ensure this program is fully funded. By every metric, it's successful in reducing evictions and keeping tenants safely in their homes, but it has never been fully funded to cover all eligible tenants. And so we hope that with this budget being passed, those issues can be mediated. And next up, we have the derelict vehicles. On just about every block in our neighborhood, you can spot a booted car taking up coveted space and offering a nesting ground for rats. And so the Councilmember Abreu has introduced legislation that removes these cars off of our streets much faster. This bill would require that the Department of Sanitation cause to be removed or refer for removal abandoned vehicles within 72 hours after the department becomes aware of the vehicle. And so the Councilmember Abreu is happy to have developed a close working relationship with Commissioner Tisch on multiple initiatives. And last but not least, we all know how much of an eyesore scaffolding has become in our city. And so the council member is introducing a bill this week that will create an accelerator program for compliance with local law 11. This accelerator models one already in place to help buildings comply with local law 97 and would assist building owners looking to navigate the details of the law, avoid fines, and importantly, get the facade inspections done quickly and efficiently for the benefit of all New Yorkers. I'll drop my email in the chat as well as the district office number. If anyone wants to reach out, feel free to do so. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. So we have Marielle, and is there anyone on Zoom or in person that has a question for Councilmember Abreu's office? Yeah, all right, Marielle, go ahead.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Oliver. And I also had a point for Councilmember De La Rosa's office. So I'll make that quickly as well. This is more so for awareness for the public and for those watching online. The Housing and Human Services Committee, with thanks to committee members, but also to the representatives from those two respective offices, is putting forward this evening 2 resolutions. So the first is on calling on the Rent Guidelines Board to have a rent rollback of 5%. And so the community board will be voting on that this evening, and I encourage the community board members to vote in support of that resolution. And the committee has also put forward a resolution in support of Councilmember Abreo's resolution on supporting the right to counsel. Again, I also encourage community board members to vote in support of that resolution. Thank you.
All right, excellent. So seeing no addition, oh man, I don't know. Go ahead, Joe.
Is it too late to go back to,
No, they're still online if you want. Michelle, can you? Yeah, to the mic. If you can use the mic just so for folks on Zoom can hear you. I know. For folks who have been just a dark Zoom square for a while, coming back on a big bird eye camera is good.
All right. This is weird. All right. So I just had a quick question for.
I think you cut out.
Weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, there was a fire on 190th Street because of lithium batteries. And we discussed this during the executive meeting. And the Business Development Committee, I'm the chair. We are proposing support for the Deliveristas bill that's on the floor for Carmen De La Rosa. Is there any update that you know of?
As of right now, what I know is that we're having a follow-up meeting with the Deliveristas for the briefing that is coming up. That's all I can share right now.
Okay.
But if you have a very more detailed question, I can put my number in the chat and you can text me and I can get you answers.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. So we're going to move on to Noah Coy from the Public Advocate's Office who's with us online.
No,
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Noah Coy, and I'm here with the Office of the New York State Public Advocate, Jamani Williams. So this is my first community board meeting, so thank you for having me. It's a very interesting experience, a good experience. I don't have much to report besides the Public Advocate's Office holding a couple State of the People addresses last week. One of them was on electric micromobility, and the other one was just on public safety. And the address on public safety was aired on New York One with Cheryl Wills last week. But besides that, I don't have anything new to report at this time, but I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has questions.
Are there any members on Zoom or in person that have a question for the Public Advocate's Office? All right, I don't see none, but Noah, you can drop your email in the webinar chat. And for board members, I'll be able to share that as well. I don't know if it's your first time with us or not, but
it is, yeah,
okay.
It is. But I'll drop a email address for our office, and whoever has questions or concerns, whatnot, feel free to send an email to that email address. I'll be dropping it in right now.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Noah. All right, we're gonna move on. We have a couple folks. We should be on target for a 7:30 public session for Lori Tobias Cohen from Congressman Espaillat's office.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm having difficulty with my microphone. Can you hear me adequately? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. It's been a very, very busy month for Congressman Espaillat, who is anyway generally peripatetic, never stops. And we just want to highlight his work as the ranking member on the legislative subcommittee and his rejection of the funding bill that was floated by the Republicans. This month also saw the resumption of our Coffee with Your Congressman events that he is holding in every district, every neighborhood of the district. So please feel free to check in on the social media and learn about those that'll be coming to a corner, a cafe near you. We had a standing room only community town hall. This was last Thursday in the beautiful atrium space of Collegiate Church. And 100 questions were submitted, about 60 were answered, and the rest will be answered online on the Congressman's website. The Congressman is using his role on the House Budget Committee to push back again on the Republicans. The Congressman remains a leader on immigration and one of the national champions on immigration that we could have. We honored the life of Harry Belafonte. He spoke from the House floor about this remarkable humanitarian who gave so much to the community. And sadly, we honored the life of Senator Bill Perkins, who is, was such a remarkable community servant. There will be a wonderful career fair, June 10th, at CUNY on the Heights, 5030 Broadway. As I said, June 10th. There are tickets available on Eventbrite, but quite frankly, come one, come all. It's, it's not necessary to reserve, but we would recommend it if possible. There's a ceremony for Memorial Day. I believe that it's happening on May 30th, but I'm going to confirm that and get the information to the community board. So if it's going to be taking place at Grant's Tomb off of Riverside Drive. If anyone is interested, please reach out to us. I will also drop contact information into the chat. And we want to congratulate Marvin Liano of Wadley Secondary School for the Performing and Visual Arts for winning this year's Congressional Art Competition.
Lori, that's time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Again, as always, please feel free to drop it in the chat. And then, of course, I know you guys put out like digital newsletters, so we're also able to share those links as much as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we are hearing from, yes, thank you, from Christopher, from Council Member Assembly Member de Los Santos office.
Thank you very much. First off, greetings to the chair, to the board members, and congratulations on hosting this hybrid event. So the Assembly member today, he's in Albany. Legislatively, the governor signed the budget, the state budget this month, and there was an investment of over 135 million for free school meals across the city, 135 million for nature repairs and upkeep, 50 million for Mitchell Lamas, 400 million towards the environmental fund to fight climate change. The Assembly member also is spearheading, along with CW 100, Local 100, the Transit Workers Union, and other elected officials to make sure that we reinstate and we bring back the workers who work on the MTA train lines, on the A train, the 1 train, the AC train line. It's important for our community to be safe at all times. And those jobs are important as well to make sure that we reinstate those workers there. So the Assemblyman has been passing out flyers and making the community aware to make sure that they call the MTA board. And I suggest and I recommend that everyone calls the MTA board if you feel the same way, that we need those transit workers inside the elevators, to come back, which they were eliminated or they were taken away from that post during the pandemic. Additionally, we also want to make an announcement tomorrow, Wednesday, May 24th, from 6 p.m. to 8:30 at the Y of Washington Heights and Inwood on 54 Nagle Avenue. We are proud to partner with the New York Immigration Coalition, DYCD, the Department of Youth and Community Development, to host a family resource fair. We're also going to have a table there with staff members to make sure that the community is aware of the services and the resources that we provide at the district office. We are also proud to partner with Council Councilwoman Carmen de la Rosa and Assembly and Congress member Adriano Espaillat on a Mother's Day celebration on Friday, May 26th. This is taking place at PS 48, which is located at 4360 Broadway. This is taking place at 6 p.m. Come one, come all. We are still celebrating Mother's Day, and we wish all the best to all the mothers. Additionally, the Assembly member, among the number of bills that he is sponsoring, he's also the lead sponsor of the Retail Worker Protection Act, to give retail workers the same protections as other essential workers like cops and nurses when they get attacked while on the job. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to put my information in the chat, and we look forward to hearing from you and to seeing you at our upcoming events. Thank you all.
Thank you. Sorry, are there any questions from either Zoom or in-person members? No. All right. Thanks, Christopher. Got a few more. Next up, we're going to be hearing from Edgar Tavares from Senator Jackson's office. He is on Zoom.
Hey, how's everybody doing? So a lot took place in order to finalize the state budget. We didn't get everything that we wanted, but some things that were definitely needed got funded. We made sure that $2.63 billion of foundation aid was made good to fully fund our schools. We successfully blocked CUNY's and SUNY's tuition hikes for students, while at the same time providing $103 million in operating aid for SUNY and $53 million for CUNY. And focusing on housing, we've been able to allocate over $391 million for ERAP, which will be helpful to all renters in public and subsidized housing, including NYCHA residents and Section 8 recipients. Another $35 million was allocated to the MTA's ability to improve subway service frequency, and also a new pilot program bringing one free bus route to each borough. Another thing that we want to highlight, we've been holding a series of tenant rent clinics in conjunction with Met Council. The next one that we are holding is on Tuesday, June 9th in the CUNY and the Heights building, which is 5030 Broadway. We urge all constituents to show up by 5:30 for intake. The senator also joined other senators and other elected officials in an official letter directed to the New York City Rent Guidelines Board to basically speak up in defense of all of our constituents throughout the entire city of New York, to basically protest this rent hike. We understand that this is going to be something that is going to impact millions of people in a very negative way, and we are trying to do everything on our part to do everything to at least and stop the rent hike, if not, get a rent rollback, which we are totally in approval of. We are also hosting our second annual Gun Violence Evening of Action and Vigil with community partners on Friday, June the 2nd from 5 to 7 p.m. at Jade Hood Park. And we also acknowledge the lives of Harry Belafonte, our beloved Harry Belafonte, and our Senator Bill Parker. We also wanted to acknowledge Jocelyn Minaya.
That's time.
Okay, sorry, but that's it.
All right, thank you, Edgar. We appreciate it. As always, drop it in email links. And of course,
Yeah.
our office continues to disseminate any flyers for events that folks have shared. We got 2 more coming up. We're almost there.
You have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep doing that. Who has a question from the room? Joelle?
For that event on CUNY in the Heights, is that just residential property or is there also commercial?
No. So we are focused on just about it's for residents, renters, subsidized, controlled rent, all of that.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, were there any other questions, either Zoom, online? No, all right. Next up, we have Jocelyn from District Attorney Bragg's office.
Yes, hello, everyone. Good evening, and I can't move this. Oh, here I go, so I can see you. Good evening, everyone. I bring you greetings from the Honorable Alvin Bragg, your DA. I would like to just echo what my colleagues in government have been saying in terms of June, upcoming Gun Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. So we also have a few efforts underway. We are hosting a gun buyback in Harlem on Saturday, June the 10th. And it will be at Memorial Baptist Church on 141 West 115th Street. I will forward the information to the community board so that they can share. And basically, we're in partnership with quite a few of the elected officials, including Congressmember Espaillat and Council Member Sean Abreu, to name a few. We're also having a Youth Against Violence poster contest for Manhattan Public High School students. And basically, you know, we know what a commodity we have in our youth and how talented a lot of them are. So we're asking that they bring their sentiments in terms of gun violence and you know, the issue that confronts them and us all, and also hate crimes and how it's affecting them in our city, and, you know, pour all that into a poster. All posters need to be submitted by Monday, June the 5th. And actually, it's been extended to Monday, June the 16th, Friday, June the 16th, and it could be submitted online. And I will also share this poster so that you can please help us get the word out to our high school students. The winning students and their school will receive a monetary prize to be used towards any anti-violence initiative that they come up with themselves as the leaders in their schools, and also, you know, as their creativity that we all need to be paying attention to and speaking with them in terms of how we fight gun violence and violence in general, and hate crimes. So I hope that you can help us get the word out. I also hope that all of you, if not most of you, can please wear orange on Friday, June 2nd, which is the color for Gun Violence Awareness Day, which is on June the 2nd. And we will be joining Senator Jackson at his event at J. Hood Wright Park. That's all that I have to share for tonight. I'm sorry I'm not there in person, Madam Chair. And I'm so happy that we're able to do this hybrid and that there's so many people there with you today. So thank you.
No, thank you, Jocelyn. Are there any questions from the room for Jocelyn? Jocelyn, you're the first one on the big screen, by the way.
Oh, yay.
No nerves. All right, I see no questions. And from Zoom, I don't see any hands either. All right, thank you. So we'll see you very soon. All right, and last and not least, to wrap it up, is our first report in person. We're going to be hearing from Mariel de la Cruz from Manhattan Borough President's office.
First of all, it's evening. So good evening, everyone. I'm trying to speak a little lower. My name is Mariel de la Cruz. I'm here representing Borough President Mark Levine. I know you support Porfirio. Porfirio is excellent. He is just not in for the week. Just wanted to give a few quick announcements. First and foremost, thank you for all of the work that all of you do to make sure that our community runs as efficiently as possible, and also to ensure that the views of the community are in every single piece of government. So I appreciate that. Just wanted to talk about a few things that BP Levine has done. And first wanted to comment on, actually, I'm gonna step back. I want to comment on the food. I covered the board for almost 7 years, and I think we got cake once. So thank you for all of the work. Yeah, thank you for all of the work that was done to make that happen, because it makes you a little happier and gives me a little more energy, which you all know I don't need more of. So I just wanted to mention a few quick things. The BP spoke at a Minecraft convening that happened on Saturday. The convening was for high school students to compete in the borough of Manhattan to show parents and all folks that they use gaming in order to learn and to create. Each of the boroughs is responsible for a sustainability project. And we chose waterfront and trees. As you know, we have a few initiatives on that piece. We also attended Congressman Espaillat's town hall, in which he heard about a lot of the issues that the community members had and his ideas on what we can do, or the office's ideas on what we can do to improve. Just wanted to mention quickly, we're partnering with HRA to have a job fair happening at 1 Center Street in the mezzanine on the 30th. So if folks have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to our office. And also we'll be co-hosting an art competition for vulnerable youth, meaning in foster care and public assistance, transitional housing. So we'll be wanting to ensure that folks have that opportunity. And I think you get like a grant or something like that if you win the competition. It is borough-wide. Lastly, I know I speak very quickly and I'm almost done. I have 1 minute, but I'm not going to do that to you all. So just quickly, there are a few parades coming up that the BP's office will participate in, including the Puerto Rican Day Parade, Dominican Day Parade, African American Day Parade, and the Israel Day Parade. So if folks are interested in walking with us on any of those parades, you get to see me on a Sunday morning. I'm not as pleasant as I am in the evening, but I'm a great time to walk with and kind of celebrate our borough and the cultures of our borough. So feel free to reach out to me. They all have my contact information. My email is very long. So mariel.delacruz@manhattanbp.nyc.gov. I will not say that again, but I'm sure that you can get it from folks here, or you can reach out to Porfirio Figueroa as well. So thank you so much for having me today. I'm happy to be here covering for Porfirio, and you'll see me at one point in the future. And if anyone wants to connect on events or questions or any kind of partnerships, I'm your person to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, yeah. Oh, questions? Oh, all right. All right, so I'm gonna pass it off to Mari, who is our second vice chair. I should have introduced everybody, my fault.
They were asking who you were, but I said it.
Thank you. All right, so Mari is gonna take us to the public session.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We'll be doing, okay, I'm a little bit short today. I feel.
You wanna get the wireless? Get the wireless.
Probably.
No, wait.
I'm not tall enough for over there. I was tippy top. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for bearing with me and my tallness. Okay. So what I was trying to say is that we'll be doing a virtual hands first, or virtual public session comments first. I will start with our first speaker, Sue Peters from NY for Wired Tech. You have 2 minutes to speak and we will time you on our end. So thank you in advance. I think we have to unmute her.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Sue.
How many minutes do I get?
2 minutes.
Okay. I have a lot of information, so I just would like to say this information is so important. It really needs a presentation to the board, but I'll just tell you, the jumbo 5G cell towers, 32 feet tall, which are being installed on the sidewalks in all 5 boroughs. There are going to be thousands of them. They're going to be 10 feet from people's homes and businesses. They're going to have children and pregnant women walking by them. 5G is high energy, higher than the wireless energy we currently have. And the federal government is not protecting you. They do not change their 1996 cell phone guidelines. Anything below that guideline, they say is safe. It's not true. You can go to environmentalhealthtrust.org, and there are thousands over the last 20 years since the FCC put that guideline in place, thousands of health issues and papers that you can read. You have to inform yourself, as the federal government, just like tobacco and DDT, is not protecting you. But there are some people in our city government and state government that are. Assembly members Seawright and Assembly member Simon. They both have bills that they put into the assembly saying we need a commission to study this 5G technology. It's dangerous.
That's time.
Okay.
Sue.
Thank you.
Please let me know if we can give a longer presentation. I have a,
I'll interject, Sue. Thank you so much for your comments. I'll welcome you to attend any of the committees during our monthly sessions. Feel free to look at our website and the schedule is posted. Our next speaker, number 2, is Mike Fiddleston from the United Palace.
Hi, am I here?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Terrific. Hi, everyone. This is Mike Fiddleston. I'm the CEO over at the United Palace, the spectacular theater on Broadway at 175th Street. And I imagine everyone knows by now, but the Tony Awards are coming next month. For those of you who don't know, the Tony Awards are like the Oscars for Broadway shows. It's a tremendous opportunity for Northern Manhattan, introducing our community to a worldwide television audience and thousands of in-person guests. The Tonys are going to begin setting up here next Tuesday, which is May 30th, and they're going to be here through Tuesday, June 13th. The setup's going to include tents on the streets around the theater. The footprint is going to expand during those 2 weeks through the June 11th ceremony, when there's going to be a tent on Wadsworth, a tent on the plaza, and a red carpet along Broadway. Some of that is going to entail changes in traffic patterns. I'd hope tonight to share finalized diagrams of what all of these changes are going to look like, but they're still working out the details. As soon as we have those, we're going to post the diagrams on our website and we'll distribute it through Ebenezer at the community board. I do want to give a huge shout out to the Washington Heights Business Improvement District for all the work they've done cleaning up Broadway, getting ready for the Tonys to come, taking graffiti off of the street furniture, and just the corridor in front of the United Palace has never looked better. So thank you very much for that. We're very excited about welcoming the thousands of guests who will be coming, guests who we hope are going to come back and eat in our restaurants, shop in our stores, visit the other cultural institutions, and play in our parks. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
And our final virtual speaker is Ingrid Renderos from CUNY in the Heights. CUNY in the Heights.
Hello, can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Yes. Yes, I'm Ingrid Renderos. I'm the director for BMCC CUNY in the Heights. We're located on 213th Street and Broadway. Before I make my 2 announcements, again, I want to thank Senator Jackson's office and Congressman Espaillat for announcing in the beginning 2 events that are happening, and I definitely want to get the word out in the community. Going back to 1, June 10th on Saturday, we are hosting Congressman Espaillat's free career fair. It's on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I am going to drop the registration link to attend. I would highly recommend, please share, because as of now, we already have more than 40 employers that will be there. We're talking companies, government jobs, community-based organizations, schools that are hiring. In addition to that, we're also going to have free educational training announced. We're going to share community resources. We're going to help you create your resume and also have a dress for success. The last thing is on June 13th, we are having a tenants' right clinic at CUNY in the Heights. And as mentioned, please, as of 5:30 on June 13th, Tuesday, at 5030 Broadway, you can stop by and get free counseling. So thank you very much. I'm going to drop also my information. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you very much, Community Board 12, for all of the support for BMCC CUNY in the Heights. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Ingrid. And we will now move over to, I'm sorry, what? No, there's no questions for public session.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I will move over to our in-person public session list. So please come up to the front and we can see your visual on the Zoom, so that we can see your visual on the Zoom. Our first speaker is Phil Zablocki. I'm so sorry if I butchered it.
Say the next two so they can
Zablocki.
sit over here.
And
So they can sit over here, the following person.
okay, yeah, and I'll call the next person, the next two, just to cue it up. So I have Brianna T, a community resident for mental health, and Aisha Ogilvy, community resident as well. Just so that we can queue up on the line. 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll keep this.
Gotcha. That's okay. Phil Zablocki, Advocates for Equality and Integrity. To all media outlets, as well as all concerned citizens, you will want to listen very closely to what I'm about to say. At the general meeting Tuesday, May 25th, 2021, Committee Board 12 Manhattan passed the following resolution, calling for a meeting to be held alongside city officials discussing the matter of the Fort Washington Avenue Armory and establishing a nomination process for appointments to a Fort Washington Avenue Armory Board of Directors, and urging the New York City Council to investigate, make public all licenses for the utilization of the Fort Washington Avenue Armory, and hold a public hearing on how the Department of Homeless Services has been overseeing the usage of public space at that armory. From what I just read, why is this significant? That was 2 years ago. And none of those 4 items in that resolution have been completed to date. Let me repeat that again. None of the items from this Fort Washington Avenue Armory resolution have been completed in 2 years, ladies and gentlemen. There's no excuse for this. If there was nothing to hide, all 4 items in this resolution would have been done a long time ago. 2 years and no results. What are you hiding, Community Board 12 Executive Committee? What are you hiding, city officials? What are you hiding, Department of Homeless Services? The well-documented facts tell us you're hiding misuse of city space at the Fort Washington Armory, amongst several other issues. Let me be very clear. This is a call to action, Community Board 12, to DHS and all elected officials to not only hold this public meeting, but complete all 4 items in that resolution. You owe this to our community. Thank you.
I will just queue up our next 2 speakers. Thank you, Brianna. I'm sorry. So again, we have Aisha Ogilvy and Al Curlow for Vote 16 NYC, followed by Catherine O'Sullivan. If you can just stand here in single file, I'll pass it to Brianna. You have 2 minutes. Please say your name and organization.
Hello, just a community member. So last year, I observed firsthand the challenges that the youth in the Heights face and the concern they have in our community. I heard about the trauma due to COVID-19 and social injustice, which are now exacerbated. Throughout COVID-19, feelings of isolation, depression, anxiety were heightened within the city and in the world. A youth advocate, Talia, said, often people tend to not take mental health seriously until it's too late. This is because people would rather suffer in silence and actually get the treatment that they need, due to the negative stigma around mental health. As I heard the youth speak about the challenges and the community trauma they have experienced, it reinforced how important it was to give social and emotional support to under-resourced youth. My name is Brianna Trinidad, and I am a peer leader and a social justice advocate for a community-based nonprofit organization, Growth and Development Services, GDS. The Excel program provides mental health services, youth development, advocacy, and intergenerational programs in our community for more than 25 years. The Excel program has and continues to assist, support, encourage youth of color and their families in Northern Manhattan and the Bronx. The needs for mental health services of the community have increased while the resources have decreased. In the midst of the challenges, GDS continues their transformational programs and continues a huge impact in the lives of the youth of the Heights. GDS is here to be a part of the solution. We have proven successful model with licensed professionals to address the mental health crisis in our community. To continue the essential work we do the most to do in the most effective way, we are here to ask you to help us find a home in the Heights. As Diane, a youth advocate, said, we want teens to have a home where they can get help, get college readiness and career readiness, a safe place where they can feel loved and welcomed, and that place is GDS. Please contact me at btrinidad@excelgds.org, and our website is www.excelgds.org, or social media is excelgds. Yeah. Can you share our information? Thank you, guys.
Good evening. I'm sure I'm a familiar face to most people. I was a member of Community Board 12 for 10 years. I've been in the community for 43 years. And tonight, I just want to speak about my experience. First of all, I'm very proud of my experience being a board member, serving as a member, as well as chair of a couple of committees, task force, housing and human services, the IT committee. I also served on the personnel committee, the nominations committee, parks and cultural affairs, and just recently land use. I was really looking forward to spending time on land use and learning more about that area that is not really my forte. However, what I want to speak about is, and really kind of speak to the new members, but also to the old members. And I just want to say that Community Board 12 should not be a place that free speech comes to die. It should not be a place where any member of this board feels the impact of marginalization, that the work that they attempt to do for the community is suppressed, that agendas are in play, that people's personal endeavors supersede and overrun the intent to support the community that we all come here to support. And it's very interesting, the first two people that spoke before me, Phil Zablocki and Brianna, are actually connected to the same issue that started the toxicity for me in Community Board 12. I was having an amazing, wonderful time until I came upon the Armory matter, which is a matter that this resolution took 10 years to this day to come to the forefront. And in 2 years since we fought tooth and nail to get a resolution passed, as they said, nothing has been done. And there's a reason for that. At one point, the top 5 people in that organization were being paid $1 million, while one sat in a meeting that I ran, being paid $200,000 and saying that they couldn't get our kids in the building. And I suffered under the pressures of advocating for that. And I hope that that is not the same for the new members. And I hope that the older members change and advocate for people to have their free speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Aisha. I will just queue up the next 2 speakers while we have you guys on the line. So we also have Martin Collins from the Northern Manhattan Art Stroll, followed by Francesca Castellano, a community resident.
Okay, thank you. Again, my name is Al Kurland, and I am representing a grassroots coalition called Vote 16 New York City, which is advocating and organizing to get state legislation passed to allow 16 and 17-year-olds the right to vote in New York State elections and also New York City municipal elections. By doing this, New York State would be following in the footsteps of 17 countries abroad, many in Latin America and South America, such as Ecuador and Brazil and Argentina, and some provinces in countries in Europe, such as Scotland and Wales, and provinces in Germany, which for over a decade have already allowed 16 and 17-year-olds to vote with great success. In the United States, we only have 5 cities that presently give 16-year-olds the right to vote. All 5 of those cities are in Maryland, and all 5 cities have established great success in giving 16-year-olds the right to vote, with those young voters turning out at 4 times the rate of people that register at the age of 18. So to conclude, I want to thank Community Board number 12, whose youth committee and executive board has helped me to shepherd along the process of establishing the possibility of having a full board establish a resolution of support so we could show proof of support on the ground and at home for something that is being supported unanimously by the elected delegation, both federal, state, and city of Northern Manhattan. So thank you very much for your attention. and consideration of this initiative. Have a great night.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine O'Sullivan, and I'm a resident of Upper Manhattan, up in Inwood. I'm an immigrant as well. So I first want to say I don't like Zoom. I don't do Zoom. It's not terribly democratic. I like to know who's in the room where it happens. So I haven't been participating in the community board affairs for some time. So maybe you've already memorialized Sally Fisher and sort of said how horrible it is that she's gone, but I want to reiterate that as a community member because we miss her as an advocate for us. I also want to say that the fact that Aisha Ogilvy and Tanya Bonner were not reappointed is kind of shocking to some people in Upper Manhattan. So that's not a very nice thing. They were very active for the community. But I'm mainly here to speak about the Ring Garden, Riverside Inwood Neighborhood Garden. It's a not-for-profit. We were founded in 1986. We moved to our current location at William Tice Square in 1990. And we have an increasing program of events. Every Thursday between 11 and noon, it's the New York Public Library and Ring story time for kids and their parents. Then we have coming up in June, we have Danny Bonilla, Art in the Garden, Saturday, June 17th. We also have a Womanist Arts Festival from 2 to 5 on Saturday the 3rd. We have Hike the Heights gathering at Ring on the same day, early in the morning, 10 o'clock. So yeah, we have lots of events happening at Ring, and we want you all to know who we are and what we are. Thank you.
Good evening. Before I get to my NOMA report, Updater Company, James Bosley, founder, will honor Mike Fiddleson, who we heard from earlier this evening at Mabawanda Cafe. He's our Upstanding Person of the Year. So join us on Wednesday, May 31st from 6 to 9 p.m. Tickets are on the website, updater.org. NOMA invites everyone to the 21st Uptown Art Stroll opening on Thursday, June 1st from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Sugar Hill Museum, St. Nicholas Avenue and 155th Street. You can see the website, nomanyc.org, for the scores of events that will take place in West Harlem, Washington Heights, and Inwood throughout the month of June, including this one. Behind the Book will give away 4,000 free books to children right across the street from this location at Mitchell Square Park on Saturday, June 3rd from noon to 4 p.m. The rain date is Sunday, June 4th. We also invite everyone to see 51 Women Uptown in Harlem, Washington Heights, and Inwood for our gallery hours, Women in the Heights, Tuesdays and Saturdays from 1 to 5 p.m. in our gallery on the ground floor of the United Palace at 175th Street and Broadway. And finally, the closing reception for both the Uptown Art Stroll and the Women in the Heights exhibit will take place on Thursday, June 29th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the United Palace on 175th and Broadway. We invite everyone to join us. The board, Community Board 12, is a founder of the Uptown Art Stroll. So we invite everyone here, board members and the public, to attend. Please see our website, nomanyc.org. That's NOMAANYC.org for all information. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Just to cue it up, Marilady Pimentel from We Act, and then Daniel Bonilla, last speaker from Ring Garden and Art in the Garden. I will pass it off now to Francesca Castellano.
Good evening. I'm a lifelong resident of the community. I've been here since I was a toddler. I've been active in many groups and activities, and I've never been part of the community board for the simple reason that I feel like though the community board says we want participation from the community, but in reality, when the community needs the community board to support it, you turn your backs. You support many of the issues that the people that appoint you to this board push. It's sad that the resolution that has been pushed and has been fought, like Aisha spoke about, 2 years when we need mental health services in our community really bad. And this community board says we want participation from the residents, but how can residents participate when you turn your backs on us? What's the point of coming to a meeting, spending our time, voicing our opinions, and then you guys do whatever you feel like it? So basically, I hope that many of you are young and are hopefully are different. Millennials come with different ideas and have a voice and stand up like Aisha has done, like Tanya and like a lot of these other who unfortunately are not here today. So that's basically, if you really want the community to participate, listen to us. Push the agendas that are important to us. Thank you.
Buenas noches a todos. I speak Spanish and English. My name is Marilady Pimentel. I am the bilingual community organizer at WEAC, and I want to invite you to our civic engagement, or as I call, Comunicando la Ciencia Ambiental. We're going to speak about compost and what is this orange beans around. It's in Spanish because I need the Spanish people to understand what is going on in science and what is going on in WEAC around environmental justice. We have the flyer outside. Please feel free to spread the word. Also, I want to share that we have our membership meeting. It's every second Saturday of the month. It's translating in Spanish also. And this month, we're going to have training for flooding because we have a lot of flooding here and we have heat island in the area. So please feel free to share the word. Also, we have update on general election in council members. Thank you so much. I speak Spanish and English. I'm in your service. If you need me, you can find me at WEAC. My name is Marilady Pimentel. My Gmail is like that, marilady.pimentel@weac.org. Thank you so much.
And our final public session speaker, Daniel Bonilla.
Hello. Hi. Real quick, just speaking on behalf of the Rain Garden, Catherine was here. I'm curating an event called Art in the Gardens. It's part of the Normal Art Stroll program. We're gonna have about a little bit over 40 artists, painters, sculptors, poets, singers, dancers, photographers, and they're all living in the Inwood, Washington Heights area. The date is June 17th, 2003, between 12 and 5 p.m. And there's a rain date for June 18th, 2023. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. 2023. And it's also going to be between 12 and 5 p.m. And that's the rain date. It's going to be located at the Rain Garden on the corner of Dykeman and Riverside, New York 140. You have any questions, feel free to contact me at info@artmandan.com. I hope to see you guys all there if you're free that day. So thank you.
All right.
That's it for public session. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to transition. Thanks, folks. If folks need a little stretch break, I understand. We're gonna dive into tonight's resolutions. So we're going to start, believe it's with Wayne. No, sorry, it was Marielle, right? Yeah, all right, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong front of show. All right, Marielle, I'm gonna spotlight you and so put you on the big screen.
Do you wanna say the rules on the timing here?
Yeah, so I let Marielle know, we do have a strict out here, and I know particularly for newer members, our meetings tend to be a little long, but we've been proud to average under 3 hours, which is a feat for boards, let me tell you. So in total, the time that you see on the agenda includes discussion of our items, right? And that's to make sure that we can vote on stuff and get out on time. So I'm gonna be quiet and push it off to Marielle for tonight's resolutions.
Okay, thank you,
Catherine. Can I just check that everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay, because I'm speaking from my phone, but my laptop is muted because of my internet. It's terrible right now. But anyway, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the new board members. Looking forward to engaging with all of you. My name is Mariel Ali, and I have the opportunity to serve as the Housing and Human Services Chair. Before I just go into my report, just really quickly, I do just want to note for the record that the lack of reappointment of Aisha and Tanya is really a true loss to the community. I've had the privilege of working with both of them and learning from both of them, and I wouldn't be where I am without both of them. And so I am disappointed in that news, and I do hope that we as the community board continue to push forward on some of the things that they've done, but building on the great work that they have done, and recognizing that. So just wanted to put that there. So just really quickly recapping, moving on to what we did at our last meeting. We had a very long but a very good meeting. We had a presentation from the New York City Department of Veteran Affairs. And so that was really good to kind of learn about what they're doing in terms of liaising with the Federal Department of Veteran Affairs and City Services and our veterans across the city. Helpful discussion and looking to continue to engage with that office. We also had conversations on the impact of the vacancy rates across the New York City departments and agencies. In some cases, for instance, some of the highest vacancies come across, for instance, the Commission of Human Rights, the Department of Buildings, for instance, has a vacancy rate of 24%. And the impact that has on the services that New Yorkers are seeking is extraordinary and very unfortunate. We talked about the Rent Guidelines Board, which we'll talk about in a moment, the resolution that we are putting forward. And then we also talked about the right to counsel, which again, another resolution that I'll get to in a moment. The last thing that I do want to draw to your attention in terms of what we spoke about at the last meeting was around, it was presented by a member of Community Board 9, was around HPD's grant, so their Home First Down Payment Assistance Program, and just finding ways to remove barriers for first-time home owners. And so those are things that we look to take forward in our coming meetings. Before I just talk about the two resolutions that we have before you this evening, I do just want to note what we have on the agenda for the June meeting and strongly encourage all of you to join and attend and share the word. We're going to have presentations from We Act for Environmental Justice. We're also going to have a presentation from the Bowery Residents Committee on the Inwood shelter that is going to be built, and also a presentation from Palante Harlem. So again, an opportunity to engage with these different stakeholders and have a meaningful and constructive conversation. So moving on to the two resolutions that our committee is putting forward this evening. The first is on for community board members, Resolution A. So it's resolution in the support of right to counsel. I do just want to give a really, really big shout out to community board member and committee member Jay for writing this and pulling it together. Ultimately, this resolution is calling on supports the council member Sean Abreu's resolution in support of intro 921 and intro 499. And so you all should have read it. And if it's okay, can I give Jay like a minute of the 10 minutes to quickly, because I see that Jay has turned on his camera, if that's okay.
I think he froze. Did he freeze?
No, Jay, you should be able to. Go ahead.
No, I was just making sure that was okay. Right, so this resolution is in support related to right to counsel. The resolution was written in mind with, the RGBs are, the Rent Guidelines Board is already recommending to increase rents, as we heard earlier. And this right to counsel has been very tremendous in helping especially people of color, to be able to have access to a lawyer, which also decreases the chances of a person being evicted from their home and staying in their community. And the resolution is calling for support for two bills and a resolution, specifically Resolution 449, which calls on the state legislature to pass. And
Just for time's sake, you all have 5 minutes left for the full piece, and questions are included in that 5 minutes, okay?
Okay, I'll just say this part then. It calls on for Resolution 499 to pass calls on the new state legislature to pass and the governor to sign Senate Bill 3924, which is sponsored by Senator Brad Hoylman and Assemblywoman Linda Rosenthal to require local governments to provide free legal representation. And the other one is in support of Intro 921, which is Councilman Abreu's bill, which would require the coordinator of the city's Office of Civil Justice to prepare their annual estimate of funding necessary to implement right to counsel law. And that's what the resolution is focused on.
Amazing. Thank you, Jay. And thank you so much again for your work on that. Shifting quickly, recognizing the time pressures, I want to bring your attention to Resolution B, which we're also putting forward this evening. So this resolution is calling on the New York City Rent Guidelines Board to adopt a rent decrease for rent regulated apartments for 1 to 2 year leases commencing October 1st, 2023 and on or before September 30th, 2024. As we heard from a lot of our elected officials already, the impact of inflation, the fact that the rents are kind of at an all-time high. Our community has the highest number of rent stabilized apartments. We think this is incredibly important. One thing to note for the community board members voting this evening, in the resolution, the resolved currently has the following percentages. It currently says for 1 year renewal lease commencing on or after October 1st, 2023 and on or before September 30th, 2024, -2 to 0%. That's what we're recommending. But actually, we actually will put forward a friendly amendment or have this amended as we received the updated figure today from Councilmember De La Rosa's office. So we are asking for a 5% decrease on both 1 year leases and 2 year leases, because ultimately this resolution is support resolution number 546, which was spoken about earlier this evening. What the Rent Guidelines Board is currently proposing is an increase of 2 to 5% on 1 year leases and 4 to 7% on 2 year leases. So again, encourage all community board members to support both of these resolutions this evening. Thank you.
Okay.
So you have
see.
we have 2 minutes for questions.
All right, so we're gonna go speed round. I see y'all first Steve, followed by Anthony, Isidro, and then let me triple check on the Zoom we have done. All right, I'm gonna need folks to come up to the mic though. So Steve, Anthony, and Isidro, if you can line up. We want to make sure Zoom and Marielle can hear your questions.
Mario, Jay, I have a question about each one of the resolutions. In the right to counsel resolution, in the first whereas, it says that the right to counsel is currently funded at 100 to operate as intended. So we say
Steve, we can't hear you. It's breaking up.
Okay, Steve, you want to try again? How about that? Is that?
No.
For the sake of time, come on up to the podium then, and we'll figure that out.
I can hear Catherine fine, but maybe it's the podium that needs to be.
Okay, I'm using Catherine's mic. Is this better?
That's better. Yes,
Yeah,
much better. Go ahead, Steve. Thank you.
Okay, so in the right to counsel resolution, in the first whereas, it says that the right to counsel program is currently funded at 110 million, and legal service providers and advocates have estimated that it needs at least 70 million to operate as the law intended. Are we saying here that it currently has $40 million more than it needs to operate as the law intended? That it may now have a surplus?
Jay,
No,
can I leave it to you?
Yeah, no, advocates are saying that they need at least 70 million on top of the current amount, which is 110 million.
Okay, so as a friendly amendment, I think you need the word more, at least 70 million more. Would that be correct? It should say 70 million more to operate as the law intended?
I mean, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, we could accept friendly amendments. That's fine.
I just want, if that's accurate, that's what it should say, I guess. In the other resolution, I'm a little confused by the resolved, by the different percentages. Why are there two different percentages? It should, in both cases, should it just say 5%, not 2%, 0%, 1%, 0%?
So really quickly, thank you, Steve. So as I mentioned, currently, when we submitted the resolution for the board, that was what we discussed at the meeting. I received the updated percentage from Carmen de la Rosa's office this afternoon. So the amendment, no, 1 second, hold on, so just so I can clarify. So the amendment will be 5% for both 1-year leases and 2-year leases at the end.
And I assume that I think you have a typo here. I assume we're talking about two-year leases that commence on or after October 1st of 2023, not 2022. Okay.
That is correct. Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
All right, so Anthony ceded his time, Isidro, and I can switch during the next presentation for the other mic.
Hi, Maria. Thank you for the result. Quick question. On the rent regulation rest that you have, do you take, are you providing any support for dwellings that are like smaller than 3 or 4 rises, floors? Because usually when you have large dwellings, they tend to accommodate a lot more these regulations. But when you have smaller buildings like 3, 4 floors, they don't have as many numbers. So I think that maybe that could be a provision that can be considered.
Okay, we can certainly look into that. Thank you, Isidro. If you could just send me something on that.
Okay. I don't see any other hands on our Zoom from our members, and I don't see any more in person. All right, and again, this is in relation to resolution A and B, and there were those friendly amendments. Does anybody need clarification on the friendly amendments that were just made? So we got them before roll call later. All right. Yeah, Anthony.
Single number that will appear for bullet points resolved, there won't be a range.
Yeah, that's correct, Bert. Did you catch that, Mariel? That it's not going to be a range. It's 5% for 1 and 2 years. So it's just one number.
That is correct. Exactly. So that, and it's to be in line with the resolution that's being put forward by Councilmember de la Rosa's office.
Yes, a very key word, 5% reduction.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Cool. Thank you, Marielle. Thank you, Jay, for 2 really key results to get out tonight. We're gonna move on to Wayne for land use. Wayne, we're gonna try the wireless mic real quick, and I'm gonna play here and see if that works. Let us know, folks.
Okay, thank you.
The office is muted.
Well, how about now? Can you go ahead, Wayne?
Okay, can you hear me on Zoom?
Yeah.
Can you hear me on Zoom? Good, thank you.
Tracy gives a thumbs up. Barbara, you got a thumbs up?
For the new members, I'm Wayne Benjamin. I chair the Land Use Committee. I refer you to the minutes of the May Land Use Committee for more detail on what we discussed. The resolution that is before us is supporting the Landmark Preservation Commission's proposal to designate 935 St. Nicholas Avenue as an individual landmark building. Earlier today, the Landmarks Preservation Commission designated the former Colored School number 4 as an individual landmark. What does that have to do with Community Board 12 in this resolution? The former Colored School number 4 is the only known building in existence in Manhattan that actually documents and speaks to the time when New York City's public schools were racially segregated. There is another building in I think Queens that is still standing. But this is a building that was like hiding in plain sight. There was a request for evaluation that went, I believe, in 2018, and it took until now for LPC to designate that. And in designating that, the commissioners acknowledged that there are so few buildings that are designated and so few sites that speak to the African-American experience. Moving to 935, 935 was identified by LPC through an ongoing survey that it is conducting citywide to identify buildings and sites that are of significance to the African-American experience. Yes, 935 is architecturally important. It was designed by a prolific firm in the early part of the of the 20th century. They've designed plenty of buildings that are in other historic districts. However, 935 was the home of Duke Ellington for like 21 years, and it was the home of Noble Sissle for like 22 years. Nearly 50 years ago, it was listed on the National Register of Historic Places because of its association with Duke Ellington. So fast forward, from the 1976 to 2023, LPC is now proposing to designate it a New York City landmark, both for its architectural significance, but also for its significance with these two noted African-American pioneers in jazz. Questions, comments?
Questions? I'll bring it over to the Zoom for many of our new members potentially who may have questions. No? All right. In person? None. Okay. What a quiet crowd.
I see the rest of my time. We can
All
go
right,
ahead.
thank you. Thank you. All right. So next up, we have for our Youth and Education Committee Chair, Faye Floriman, on Resolution D. It is regarding lowering the voting age to 16 for municipal elections. So if you could, everybody should have that in your packet. So.
I guess the small people have to do what I'm going to do now. Good evening, everyone. Yes. Yeah, well understood. So good evening, everyone. Yes, my name is Faye Floriman for new members, Chair of the Youth and Education Committee. So I just want to, like my colleague said, referring you to the minutes. So I just really wanted to give you some background about the resolution that we are presenting tonight. Basically, back in 2014, 2015, this board passed a resolution in support of the young people in the age of 16 and 17 to be admitted at the Community Board 12, so they can be part of us and vote on issue that affect them, like all of us doing here. So this time, this resolution, the petition is to bring this to a higher level, which is the state level. That's what we are asking here. So what we are asking now, what I want to tell you also is that this resolution is being supported at federal level for Congressman Espaillat. He's supporting, but it's being co-sponsored at the state level and city level from city council and all our elected officials through our district and also other extended district as well. So that means that the support is overwhelming, and I hope tonight we can come in your support. So basically what we're asking the community board is to go another round, but a higher level, which is the state level. Understanding that the federal members of this committee elected officials in our district is supporting this and all our elected officials. So I really hope that all of you, hopefully allow our young people to be able to vote, on the state level and election on the state level. So that's what we are asking here. And we are urging our community board to urge those elected officials at state level and also city council to support this resolution. So in support of having, as the title says, in support of having the voting age to 16, 16 New York City, New York State election and New York City municipal election. So if you have any question.
I don't see any hands on Zoom. We got Steve Simon in the room.
Yes, Steve.
And if you can just repeat the question.
In the first where, can I speak in here?
Yeah, we'll repeat it on the mic.
In the first whereas, It's not just the current New York State election law that establishes the voting age of 18. It's also the United States Constitution. I think we should recognize that. And in the third whereas, as I pointed out previously, you can indicate that Congressman Estrella supports the legislation. He doesn't vote on it because this is state legislation, and he's not a member any longer of the state legislature. He's now a Congressman.
Well, let me just, thank you, Steve. Yeah, your point is well taken, and number one, but number three, I wanted to say that the legislation, what it says, the legislation is co-sponsored and supported. I include, since you already mentioned during the executive committee, so I included the word supported, indicating that it's by the, by Congressman. He's supporting, but not co-sponsoring. So should we? Yes.
So when you say it's by, that's what I'm not saying to the people. Further down.
Following, supporting, all right. Yes, I like that word too, accurate. Thank you.
Sorry, and Fed, did you accept the first?
Yes, well, yes, thank you.
All right, go ahead, Deb.
Who else?
Debbie.
Yes, Debbie.
And Barbara Fraser on Zoom, so we'll start with Debbie.
Building on what Steve said, I think it would simplify, co-sponsor means a specific thing, so I would move that any of the state delegation is co-sponsoring the state legislation. Put that in one whereas, and make people.
Sorry.
Can be in the second one.
Can you say that again? I'm so sorry, Debbie.
I think co-sponsoring legislation is a very specific thing. So I would move if any of our local state electeds are actually co-sponsors of the of those two pieces of legislation, then move that into the whereas prior. Then just leave the whereas you have to be supporters and take out the word co-sponsor, because actually it does raise the question, are any of the assembly members or our state senator co-sponsors of the legislation? So just as.
Right, I kind of got it, but I don't know where we go to, you know.
Okay,
go to
so
the
we're
minutes
gonna
and we
say-
that.
Yeah,
What I just wanted to say is that if I understood, I think I don't need it.
Yeah, all right. Come here
Sorry.
easier, sorry,
Yeah,
and that way.
so
the
that I
mic
could walk with
control-
the mic.
So while Debbie writes that down, we're gonna take a hand from Barbara, all right, Ben?
Yes, what I wanted to say is that maybe between what Debbie just said and Steve, I think it would be best if after the word co-sponsoring and the word supported, we add or we change the name of the elected officials for the state.
The what?
Just so.
Separate co-sponsors and. Name any of the elected officials if they're co-sponsors of the legislation. Reflected in the prior whereas. That's all. I got. Okay.
In the state delegation.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
just the name of it. Okay.
yes.
Can I take Barbara's while you write the down?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Barbara, go ahead.
So I think any other comments here have to come to the mic, but she's taking Barbara from the
First,
Zoom.
Barbara, and then.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Barbara, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, prior to the 1960s, the age of 21 was the age for participation in elections. And then during the Vietnam era, of course, the hue and cry was appropriately that if young men could be drafted and have to give their lives by law to go to Vietnam or go into the military, it was completely unfair that they weren't allowed to vote. And therefore, that led to the constitutional amendment and the adjustment at state and local levels that all 18-year-olds could vote. Also because often high school was the end of education, and most people didn't go to college. And so therefore one was considered an adult and educated at age 18. Now, at 16, we would say an individual is not yet fully educated and also hasn't necessarily, in the view of society, earned a maturity. So what is the deep motivation to have 16-year-olds vote?
What is the motivation? Why?
Well, as opposed to like in the Vietnam era, clearly a mandate that 18-year-olds should vote.
Well, I think to begin with, if they pay taxes, they should be entitled also to have the right to vote, if I can minimize the answer.
All right, Jamina has a hand.
So my question is around aligning this with curriculum in public schools. Since I work with youth, they're very different than youth in the past. Like every year, youth is different. So what I'm noticing is that a lot of these youth, they don't really comprehend the power of a vote, right? So we create that access for them, we're encouraging this access for them. I think there needs to be an educational component where there's some sort of alignment with public schools implementing into the curriculum and showing them why is it important, because a lot of these youth will then get influenced by their parents to vote for who their parents want them to vote for, rather than making a decision on their own. And I feel that youth don't really have that capacity to make certain decisions when they're teenagers. So is there a way to align this with public schools curriculum to really educate them on this, especially because the way they get information is very different. Students are not turning to books, they're more like social media technology. So how can this information be personalized for young people to ensure they really understand what this power is about, and not having the parents influence, because that aligns with what we currently have political climate in the Heights.
You just gave a
folks.
reason why 16-year-olds
Barbara, you're out of order.
I'm sorry, Barbara. Thank you for the comment.
So,
Okay.
wait, are you making an amendment, or are you recommending for that to be included in the
Do you
resolution?
want that to be included?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at time. Sorry, Nobles.
So there's one response going, and I saw a couple hands. Let me see if they're new hands.
I think Nobles had his hand up.
All right, so there's one more hand. I'm going to allow another 4 minutes for this discussion.
I like Nobles, you could.
Well, I wanted just to respond to her that on the second whereas, if you can see, well, what this legislation actually is asking is also to, this idea to educate young people about the right to vote is to be implemented starting at high school level. So they're gonna be educated on the issue, why it's important to vote and so forth. Because we already, in school already, they are promoting very much civic engagement. And this is part of the same, strategy.
Okay. Nobles?
I'm free to go?
Hey, I'll just keep it quick. I'm early millennial, but I'm also like old enough to remember civic classes in high school. So like, look, you don't need to add to this. I read it. I think it's great. Sorry, I'm not even sure if that's possible, Jim, but it's like, whatever. Anyway, civic classes, yes, I do also think, if just as advice, as a follow-up as well, maybe like also do a resolution of bringing civic classes back. They were immensely helpful at helping me understand in elementary school through 8th grade, the power of the vote, how our government works. I didn't have to rely on a cartoon. So first and foremost, do that. Is it okay to speak in support of this? Like as a board?
It's your time.
I am 100% in support of this. Let me tell you why. The kids are growing up faster. I got 2 daughters, 7 and 5. These kids are literally 13 in terms of what they do right now. The world has come to them. They are participating in the world already in a very big degree. They should have a voice at the table. That is number one, easy as pie, straightforward, simple. I 100% support this resolution.
All right.
May I-
Wait, because
Thank you.
how much time do we have to
Faye.
talk? I have Jay and Liz to wrap up. Yeah, you did. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you put it down. All right, go ahead, Luana. It's a new voice.
Just quick on this.
Hold on. The mic.
Oh, sorry. On the last whereas recent developmental and political research demonstrates. As a researcher, you cannot say that research shows without citing said research. There needs to be a footnote or a bibliography that would outline the benefits, the pros and cons of this kind of resolution so that if we're voting on it, we're well informed.
Thank you. Yes, we actually. have
Thank you,
some
Luana.
documentation that we can include it.
So, okay.
Which that was done by Robert Elfstein, Harvard University. So we will include that.
Okay, so you'll make
Thank
that
you.
amendment before it's sent. We do have Jay and Liz on the Zoom, so I'm gonna give it back to Jay real quick. And then Liz will go into her reso ideally. Go ahead, Jay.
1 minute.
Yeah, I just say I'm in support of this. I agree with what was said about, splitting the portion about the non-state elected officials. And I would argue against the comment that was said that 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds don't know what they're doing when they're voting. We can argue that adults also vote party lines or vote on misinformation. And I agree with the research portion. I think if we are gonna put research and vote something that is saying this, it needs to be cited for us to know what is being cited for this. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, we have 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you.
30 seconds.
30 seconds off to Liz. Hold on.
Okay, thank you.
Esta es la última.
I absolutely agree with and support this resolution. I think that if you create good civic habits, that translates into adulthood. So the earlier that we get kids voting, the more engaged that we are going to have the electorate be as those kids age, and that they will then raise children who in turn are civically engaged. As far as kids being overly influenced by their parents, who are we kidding? That was the main argument against giving women the vote, that they would be overly influenced by their husbands and their husbands should just vote for them. That argument was garbage then. And I think that the ageist equivalent of not allowing 16 and 17-year-olds to vote is belongs in the same bin of women following their husbands. So I encourage everyone to vote in favor of this reso.
All right, thank you, Liz. So before I turn it.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, but do you have the amendments you need?
Yes, I think yeah.
I just want to make sure that we all know what we're voting on around the amendments. So do you know what the friendly amendment, you got them? From Debbie on splitting those?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now you can wrap up.
Okay.
before.
I just want to thank Al. I want to thank everyone who is supporting this and those who are not, they may have their reason for not supporting, but I hope you all support it. And thank you too for your friendly amendment. Thanks.
All right, we're gonna go lightning. Hopefully, this one should be quick. So we're gonna go, Liz, you can keep your camera on. You're on our
it's
big
Liz.
screen as the FYI.
Okay,
so-
can you see me now?
Yeah, we can see you. So for folks, this is Liz Ritter, our chair for Parks and Cultural Affairs, and we're gonna be discussing resolution letter E, which is the 1% for Parks and Arts. Take it away.
Great, thank you so much. So before I introduce the reso, I just want to highlight for people that our next meeting, we'll have several items on the agenda. It's a packed agenda, but the two highlights that I really hope people will come out for and will spread the word to their neighbors is that we will be hearing a presentation from the Capitol folks at Parks Department on the proposed redesign for the Lily Brown Playground. Shout out to Councilmember Abreu for funding that. And we will also be having a presentation on the high-level conceptual designs for the new parks that EDC will be building at the North Cove and on Academy Street. These are not final designs. These are conceptual designs based on the many public input meetings and informational sessions that were had over the late winter and spring. So we'll be meeting on June 13th, second Tuesday, 6:30 on Zoom. I hope to see you there. The resolution that I'm introducing is a resolution calling on the City Council to pass and the mayor to support a budget that includes 1% for parks and 1% for art. Unfortunately, since I'm dialing in on my phone, I can't figure out how to call up the reso on my phone and look at it while I also have the Zoom going. So I'm doing this from memory. If people have edits to it, just give me what you got. But we have so many parks in the city, and this is particularly important in Community District 12, where about 38% of our land is parkland under the Department of the New York City Parks Department. They're not adequately funded, and there is very little that could not be made better for our parks without more money. Most large cities devote a larger percentage of their budgets to parks and recreation. Currently, New York City spends about 6%, 0.6% of the annual budget on parks, and about thank you so much for screen sharing that, and a little bit less than 0.5% for arts and cultural affairs. So we would like to see 1% for arts and 1% for parks, because these are not fluffy extras that are things that we do with our public dollars after we're done doing other things. These are vital resources that help to support and improve health, mental health, civic relations, and in the case of the arts, our local economy. So I think this kind of speaks for itself and is sort of a no-brainer, but I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, we have a question in the room. I don't see on Zoom, so we're gonna start with where I'm gonna need folks to line up at the mic. Oh no, he's gonna bring the mic. Thank you.
Hi, Liz. It's not a question, just a friendly amendment. In the resolved, it simply speaks to 1% for parks and 1% for arts. And my friendly amendment is say 1% of the city's annual budget or the city's annual operating budget, so that it's clear 1% of what.
Oh, yeah, that totally makes sense. Thank you very much for that. I'm happy to accept that as friendly.
And one from Jay on Zoom.
Yeah, I just had two questions. One was when we're talking about the budget funding, or we're talking operational or capital.
Mm-hmm.
And the other question is on the percentages. What is 0.6% of the annual budget that's being spent, and what does 1% equate to?
So you're
In
asking
dollars.
what's the actual, what do the dollars translate into? I don't have that number off the top of my head. Actually, I bet Steve would, in terms of because of his position at the Parks Department. I can add that in, but it would be difficult for me to say exactly what 1% would be, because I don't know what the total budget will be for 2024. So I'm not sure that it necessarily makes sense to add that. I can get you those exact numbers and send them to you tomorrow if you're just wanting them for curiosity. In terms of distinguishing between capital and expense, this would be both. So the total New York City budget is New York City's operating budget, and that would include expense and capital for, in this case, parks and cultural affairs.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's just for information. And
yeah,
with what I think Wayne said on the result.
Okay, yeah, I will totally add that into the resolved, and I will try to get you those those actual dollar amounts. I won't be able to get them to you tomorrow, but I should be able to get them to you Thursday.
Okay, Liz, we still have one more hand in the room from Nobles Crawford. Mike's coming to him.
Okay.
Barbara, we're gonna wrap up with you before we go to our next reso item.
Obviously, I 100% support this resolution. Just a quick question on the genesis, I guess, of how it came up in the committee. I know because you're always on top of everything.
It's really hard for me to. Yeah, I'm getting like every
Sounds like
third
he's on
word.
water.
Which thing? It's a amazing thing. I'll just like walk up to the front. I feel like a rock star. Hey Liz, can you hear me?
Yes, much
Hey,
better.
Hey, just real quick on the genesis of the conversation in the committee. As I was saying before, you're always on top of everything, so I'm not surprised that you're the one that brought this up. But just like from a messaging, standpoint, was this something that was officially adopted in the mayor's messaging during his run? Like, you know what I'm talking about, like in posters and stuff?
Yes, and
Officially?
that's why,
Okay.
and that's why it's actually in the reso that he
That's what
ran
I was
on it,
wondering.
that he
Thank you.
campaigned on this. He did campaign on just this thing, which is why we're calling on the mayor specifically to approve it. I will say that how this came to us, we've been talking about 1% for parks and 1% for arts, not in terms of a reso, but it's just kind of the general dialogue at our committee for, years. But Partnership for Parks had an official 1% for Parks campaign going, as they have had for years. And they reached out to all the boards across the city and asked them to sign a petition and to write letters of support. As you know, we don't do letters of support, we do resos. So that's how this came to be a reso. But we've been talking about, the idea of supporting 1% for parks for a very long time.
Thank you. All right, and last from Barbara.
And you could probably kill the
Liz,
screen share.
Yeah, Liz certainly strongly in support of the resolution. I just
Mhm.
wondered though, if we should include that currently in the whereases, unlike other cities, the central budget allocates nothing for capital projects at this time. The funding for capital projects has to come at the behest of individual council members. That there's, that's strange. In other words, there's
Right.
nothing in the cap, and that's
Right.
not really said clearly in the whereas.
That is correct. I actually left that out for a reason. And the reason that I left it out is New York City Department of Parks and Recreation is the only agency that does not have its own capital budget. We do, as you said, have to shop capital projects around to the council members, the borough president, various other electeds to get them funded. But once the council member, which most of the funding comes from through the council, once those things are funded, those are coming from that budget, from the city budget. So even though it's a peculiar process of how capital funds get to be allocated, the fact is they are coming from the city budget. The point of this resolution is not to change the process through which things are funded. The point is to make sure that that the absolute funding currently, I think Danny just said $624 million. So the point of this resolution is to make sure that there is a larger amount of money and a larger percentage of the budget allocated towards parks. How exactly those dollars then get spent is still going to be a similar process. It would essentially wind up translating into council members getting more money to spend in their districts, which is fine, I think.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Liz, Barbara, and everyone you got the friendly amendments that you're making, Liz.
Yeah,
folks are
it's just
clear
the
on what
one.
we're voting on for that. All right. We got that changed. All right. We're going to go on to our next committee report, who usually wraps up this section, which is our licensing. And I'm going to quickly screen share so folks can see on Zoom as well all of the numbers. Dame 2 segundos. Vale.
Thank you all so much, Madam Chair. Again, my name is Isidro Medina. And for the new members, please feel free to check if you want to join our committee. But check with Madam Chair first as you make the final decision. Our committee produces the largest amount of resos. So out here we have like 17. That's on a lightly month. By next month, I'm expecting to have at least 20 or 25. So I welcome you with open arms to my committee. Having said that, great shout out to Anthony Viola for writing up the minutes. Thank you, Anthony, so much again. Folks, do understand that you're not voting on agenda item number 9, 10, 11, 13, 15, and 17, because these have been withdrawn at the meeting or prior to the meeting. So you're not voting on those. Also a point out to highlight, agenda item number 14 is actually a class change. And for the new members, a class change is practically when an applicant is changing from a restaurant wine to a full liquor license. So that is the change there. Also, please note that on agenda item number 12, there was a recommendation by the committee for them to send a picture of a speaker that was mounted on the shed outside. So that particular speaker was removed from the shed, and we requested that as a stipulation from the applicant. Also note that the two applications that we rejected were because of a lot of serious problems with security, shots getting fired outside of the premise. And another one that we rejected was because of poor health and hygienic condition at the restaurant. Those are the main reasons. For details, please check the minutes. They're fully detailed as provided by Anthony. But at this point, I'm going to open up the floor for question. I see Wayne first,
Jay Mazer,
followed by Jay Mason.
and then Liz on Zoom. And
Let's hope this mic works. So Isidro, concerning agenda item,
Zoom, can you hear Wayne Benjamin speaking?
can you hear Wayne
Okay,
Benjamin
we get
speaking?
thumbs up.
Okay, agenda
Yeah.
item 16, is this a new establishment?
Yes, it is. It's a new bagel shop that's going to come up to
So
Brooklyn.
it's a bagel shop that needs a wine license?
Yes,
So
why not?
So is it literally just a bagel shop or is it more of a cafe?
I think it's a combo.
Yeah, it's like across from where I live. Yeah, so it's more than your typical bagel shop where you go in, buy the bagels and leave. It's more of it going to be a cafe.
Correct, with seating arrangements as well.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Jay Mazer is next.
I think I don't really know what a temporary retail permit is.
A temp license request is when an applicant comes to the committee and wants to speed up the process with the SLA. If they were to apply under the normal process for a full liquor license or restaurant wine license, that will require at least 9 to, and I hear cases of 19 months on the waiting list. The SLA has put up this temporary permit where they can come to community board, apply to SLA, and within 30-day notice, they can get a copy of the certificate on a temporary basis, but they got to come back to the community board for at least 3 months in a row. I don't know who's next.
It's
Steve,
no, it's OC.
I'm sorry, Ozi.
Going back to item number 12. Did they provide with a photo that they removed the speakers?
They provided a copy of the picture that removing the speaker from the shed on the outside of the premise. They did.
Thank you.
Okay, now it is Liz on Zoom. So Liz. go
Hi,
ahead.
thank you. So I know that the two items related to Buddha were withdrawn, items 10 and 11, but I just wanted to address those two briefly. I am super perplexed as to why they keep coming back, even though we have made very, very clear that as an operator, they are not doing the things that need to be done to be a good operator in our neighborhood. We keep on, when they've gotten approved by the SLA, there are stipulations which it was with stipulations which they have not honored, and they continue to be a bad operator in the neighborhood in terms of noise and other quality of life issues. So I just want to state publicly that I have real concerns about that business. And I'm just wondering, what's the trajectory for this licensing application? Like, are they coming back again next month? And how often do they get to, I don't know, waste our time with this?
So they withdrew the application prior to the meeting, so we couldn't have a chat with them. But
Okay.
do rest assured that most of the complaints that were registered via email, they will also be saved when they come back.
Okay.
So that we will know precisely what the problems are with that particular applicant.
Super. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
We're going to Steve and then back to OC, unless there's a new member who got, or Emily. And then, or if you have questions, because we are voting on this, so just let us know. Steve.
Do you want me to let you go?
It's either I have two questions. Resolution number 7 indicates that some committee members expressed some concerns about the state of the health conditions at the establishment. But there's no detail in the resolution regarding these health conditions.
Can't hear Steve. You got it. You got to use the mic down in front.
All right. Try maybe
It comes in and out. Walk the whole hospital.
You're getting in your steps, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could use the exercise. Resolution number 7 indicates that some committee members expressed some concerns about the state of the health conditions at the establishment. But in neither the resolution nor the minutes, do we have any details about what these health conditions are that cause these concerns? So I would appreciate having some information on that. And regarding resolution 16 on Wayne's Bagel Cafe. There's some inconsistency in the resolution. In the first whereas and in the resolved, it indicates that they're requesting an on-premises liquor license, but in the last whereas, it says it's a restaurant wine license. So you need to clear up the language of that resolution. It's not clear whether how much Wayne wants to drink at this Bagel Cafe.
Okay.
So on Wayne's Bagel Shop, agenda number 17 is going to be a restaurant wine, so we'll make that correction and we'll take that as a friendly amendment. As far as agenda number 7, the issues that were stated as being problematic, in essence, we pick it up from the health department last inspection, where they had a grade that was pending. And on that note, there were some issues with either rats and or roaches, but I cannot find the specifics, and that's why some members had some question about that particular agenda item. So it had to do with the health inspection code, the last inspection.
Hold on. We got Emily still got a question. Can you clarify? Was it rats?
It's good.
Yeah. All right, it was rats. So Emily and then OC, so that we can wrap up, and then we're gonna move to our roll call. We still got one item under new business tonight.
So my question was similar to Steve's.
No, it's okay.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is similar to Steve's, although it's not for that particular number, but now I'm questioning that one. It's for number 4. It says that it's passed with objection due to serious concerns raised by the 34th precinct at the time. Do you know or like recall what serious concerns were raised by the precinct? For number 4.
So for number 4, the prison reported serious issues going on at this particular address, 104 Dykeman. Shots getting fired.
That's pre-game. I was gonna say Republic.
I'm sorry. So there were no comments from the 34th precinct as far as Republic is concerned.
Okay. All right, and then OC was the last. OC was the last. We're adding, she got 2 and then 1, 3. Yep, 3 more minutes and then we're gonna move to roll call.
Isidro, could you please clarify to all members, specifically more for new members, that applicants can come back to us over and over again as long as their application is different than the previous one. So they can continue to apply as long as they like to. This is SLA rule. Could you please clarify?
I think that was clear enough, but in essence, thank you, Osi. Osi, by the way, was part of our license committee. So all the applicants, they have an opportunity to come back. As long as they have a different ask, we cannot stop them, but we'll make sure that we hold them accountable by the report of the residents, the PD, and obviously you as board members as well.
And then we're gonna see, I think,
on, who
how
is
we
it?
angle into our wireless mics is important, so let's try.
Can you hear me now on
Can
the
you guys
Zoom?
hear her on the Zoom?
You gotta like
Yeah, okay.
speak close
Yeah,
into
you
it.
gotta be very
Like
loving.
oh,
I don't know about no spit.
no, you have to go like this,
So Natalia.
like so it can
Natalia,
echo
you
into the
remember.
mic. I guess we can
Natalia, you
beatbox
remember
into it.
like this.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Who is it? I don't see who. Are you sure?
Oh, you good? Okay, she's good.
I'm like, come on, come on.
Is we are about to go into voting. That's why I was like, wait, what's going on?
Hold on. Can you explain the objection, no objection withdrawn?
For everyone, or you mean specific to the objections? Oh, totally. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that.
Okay,
And then
just one
Anthony,
last.
yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify resolution number 7. So 7, it wasn't a matter of any environment issues. The health issue that was raised was that they didn't have a health inspection. We learned at the committee that they didn't need one because they only serve as part of their business 10% or less of prepared foods. So we inquired into the reason why they didn't submit a health inspection like every other applicant did. But ultimately, they didn't need to under the law.
Thank you, Anthony, for the input.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah.
There was
All right,
none.
Natalia, I just realized we have 2. No, we have Natalia Bedrin, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I think we only have one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Natalia.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if you guys covered this, but I'm a new member, so I'm not that familiar with this. I'm not really familiar with any of these upcoming businesses and corporations. So how would I find out more information generally if I want to have an opinion on it?
Yeah,
It's on the website, I believe.
Okay, so
Feel free and please join the license committee. We tend to ask as many questions as we can with the understanding that our time is limited when we face over 25 applicants. But if there are any specific question or issues, feel free and send me a note and I'll be sure to make a note of it. So please send me a note if you have any question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, speak close. We could walk it for now. If not, you'll get some
All right,
steps.
so we're going to transition. We're gonna troubleshoot a little bit. I'm gonna ask Jim.
It's like weird.
Jim is our parliamentarian, our historian.
Wait, may I speak to that last question very, very briefly?
Liz, if you can, I can get you in touch. It's just that we really got to keep going because it's 9
Yeah,
and we
it's
still have
9.
one more item to vote on tonight.
Mhm.
Okay. So Jim, if you can come and explain how we vote and what's about to happen.
We have a roll call vote, pretty much. Wasn't ready for this, but that's okay. Yeah. You can vote yes or no, yes or no. Now, the complication has to do with the interaction between the city charter and our bylaws and also Robert's Rules of Order. Let me go back. This is actually very interesting and I'll try to do it in less than a minute. Normally abstaining means you're just not voting. If you don't wish to express an opinion. Technically, when you don't go to the voting booth on election day, you are abstaining. Okay, and it just doesn't count. We don't count who's hasn't gone to the election. But because of the way the city charter and such forces us to count votes, although abstaining may have a very different meaning to you than voting no, when we tally the votes, and this is in the words of, various documents, the only votes that count in favor of the resolution are those directly in favor of the resolution. People who abstain and people who vote no, those votes do not count in favor of the resolution. So you have to keep that in mind. That's the main thing about the voting.
You say conflict?
Oh, the other thing, yeah, and this is very important. We're actually city officials. So if you or your cousins or someone are involved, for example, in some hypothetical bar, you have a conflict of interest because your family can make money off of this. And if you have a conflict of interest, then you may not vote on that particular resolution. Now, what happens is when you do that, and by the way, you can't not vote because you don't feel, well, if you vote because you don't feel like it, it counts as an abstention. But if you vote because if you don't vote because you have a conflict of interest, there's actually one less person voting on the resolution at that point. So that has to do with how we tally the resolution. Are there any questions?
Does one have to disclose that one might have?
Does one have to
Thank you.
disclose that one has a conflict of interest?
If you have a conflict of interest and you do not disclose it, you have violated the conflict of interest law, and I do not think you want to do that. That's number one. If you have a conflict of interest, not only do you have to tell us that you have it, but you have to tell us precisely what it is. Like, my cousin owns the business. Okay?
Where you work.
Or you work for it, or that kind of thing.
Tracy has a question. I see, Tracy, you have a question around this, and I want to make sure if any new members joining tonight have questions around how we vote. Go ahead, Tracy.
So your point is an abstention is essentially a no vote?
Yes.
De facto, it's a no vote, right?
Yeah, it's recorded as an abstention, but tallied as
As not in favor.
Yeah, as not in favor.
Right. The only things that count are in favor of the resolution. So if the votes in favor of the resolution do not constitute a majority of the people voting, excluding the people with conflicts, then it won't win. So it's de facto a no vote.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. For folks in the room, feeling good? Are we clear on the items that we are voting? We're gonna start with Zoom first. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna start with Zoom first. And then if at any point mic's cut out because for open meeting laws, it has to be recorded, Jumina will repeat it into the mic. Oh, no. So dale. Starting with Liz. Yeah, you can start with Liz.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jumirna Kober, your Assistant Secretary. So I'm going to start off with our folks on Zoom. So Liz, how do you vote?
I vote yes to all except for number 2. I think it's number 2. That's the Element Corp. I'm not voting due to conflict on that item because they are a donor to a fundraiser that I'm doing next week. And I think it would look like, I just don't want anybody to think that because they made a donation to that cause that they somehow bought my vote. So I'm not voting on that item.
Thank you. Next we
Thank
have
you.
Tracy McNeil.
Yes to all.
Thank you, Tracy. Jay Baez.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Natalie Bedrin.
Natalia, please. Yes to all.
Thank you. Joseph.
Yes to all except for D, on which I vote no.
You said D, no to D.
No to D.
No to D. Jonathan Frometa.
I vote yes to all.
I was gonna say.
Thank you. Barbara Frazier.
No on D, as in dog, yes to the rest.
Mario Ali,
Yes to all. Thank you.
thank you. And Mansita,
Hi, I'm gonna vote yes to all.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, hold on. I see Jody Hurston, you've been on the Zoom. You gotta accept the panelist link so that we can
She's
record your
here.
vote.
No, she's here.
Oh.
She's here. My bad.
Wow. All right, we'll get you in a minute. Sorry about that.
Thank you for joining twice.
All right, yeah, you can
So
go
now,
now.
Joelle?
She's gonna go down the list.
No, no, not me.
Go by the names.
Yes to all except for D, no to D.
Okay. Alvin, right?
Sorry.
Yes to all.
Oh, Jamina, you're next. I don't know if you want to go
We
next.
could skip her.
Okay, and Maria was there. Oh, man.
Whoever's signed, whoever's signed.
Man, hold on. I don't know who Richard Holman is.
I feel like this is a quiz if you remember names.
Richard Alman.
Hey, Richard Alman.
Yes to all.
Yes to all.
Okay.
Thank you. Jacob. Yes to all. Wayne. Yes to all. Jim.
I vote no on D as in dog and 12 and 14 and yes to the rest.
You're good there, Jimmy? Daniel. Yes to all. Nobles.
Thank you to the secretaries. Yes to all.
Luis Cruz. Right over here. Yes to all. Robin Cruz. Yes to all. The chair, you vote last, right? Luana.
Yes to all, except I abstain on D as in dog.
Yes to all, except for number 8, which I say no.
A, right? A as an apple? Number 8, okay. Heidi Guzman.
Yes to all.
Jody Herson.
Yes to all.
OC.
Yes to all.
Michelle Lee.
Yes to all.
Emily.
No to 2 and 3 and yes to the rest.
Jay.
A no to 12, 14, 16, yes to the others.
Thank you. Isidro. Yes to all. Debbie.
I'm gonna abstain on D and yes to the rest.
Carmen.
Yes to all.
Indiana.
Yes to all.
Where's Bruce? Steve Simon, where is he? Oh, here, right here.
Oh, thank you. Drink. Not yet. I don't think the place is open. Not voting on the, I have a conflict of interest because of my position with the New York City Parks Department. Voting yes on all others.
Tanisha. Is that recorded?
No, can you say it on the mic? Sorry.
Yes to all.
Paul.
All the way back.
Yes to all.
Angel Vasquez, that's me, yes to all, and Anthony. Give me.
I work for the city. I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna abstain on E, Indiana. And then yes on all the rest.
It's for the agency.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So you can choose to not vote due to conflict.
Just to play it safe.
That's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
That's Indiana, right?
Do you mean you got that? Okay, Anthony.
Yes to all.
Did I miss anyone? I have two people. You didn't sign her. There we go.
Yes, I did. My name is right here. Look. Wow. I got bomb ass signature. Yes, sir. Look at that bomb ass signature.
James.
No to do, and I'm not voting on number 4, conflict of interest. They support my organization.
Which number 4?
No.
Thank you.
See, Marty?
Yes to all.
Oh, it's number 7, not number 8.
Yes. Yeah, she already got it. Yes, okay. I meant to say number 7, no, not number 8.
Oh, you see, I knew there was something.
All right, so it's just the two of you left.
So I vote yes to all, and then.
I abstain from D.
Everyone's been covered.
I-
Great.
All right. All right, thank you, folks. I have a special request just because the time is 9:13 and we have one more item that requires voting tonight that is under new business. So I'm gonna ask my fellow chairs if we can refer to the minutes for your reports, and if you have a super big announcement, we can make it in the announcements. Is that cool? Oh, you are right. Thank you. Go ahead. Mike.
You guys good? Hey, Nobles Crawford, Marijuana Task Force, aka previously Parks and Cultural Affairs, go get them. Look, my minutes aren't in there. If you guys aren't familiar with the Marijuana Task Force's meeting, either I can send them to you or you can definitely email the office. They can send you the minutes from our last meeting, which is about a week ago. Basically, what we covered in that meeting was the initial review of our first draft of the marijuana retail licensing application survey. Oh, wow. Last meeting was about a week ago.
Sorry, you're cutting in and out.
The tires on this one.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah, no problem. Is the first draft of our application survey, and we also compared
Cutting out too much.
It's
still
breaking
can't hear
up.
you,
It's all
Nobles.
Garbled,
You've got to be. I don't know what to do with this one.
garbled.
Am I?
Step back a little bit. Go ahead. No, not that far.
Guys, I'm so sorry for wasting your time. I know everyone's trying to get out of here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, what we went over about a week ago was the first draft of our retail marijuana licensing application. In comparison also to CB2's, who has done this successfully, and how ours will be different from a localization manner. We also briefly covered, we're trying to do a marijuana educational event sometime, maybe July or August, but we're looking for the right community moment to do it. Maybe I'll holler at Danny Benia about the Ring Garden. That'd be kind of hot. Outside of that, our next meeting will be May 31st. I, by mistake, in the meeting said May 30th, but that is Memorial Day. It'll be the evening, May 31st. Only board members are allowed to come to it because it's a task force. I will make sure that the office gets it out this time. I apologize for last time. It's just been a busy week at work. Thanks.
All right, Joel, come on up. Joel, real quick. For folks, if y'all could stick with us, we have one more item to vote on.
Just give it a shot.
Testing. No? Oh. All right, can you hear me now? All right, great. So, my name is Joel Abreu. I am the Chair of Business Development. Quick, our next meeting, it's on June 6th. the Uptown Market. Shout out to Liz for setting this up. Mr. What's his name? Marco Shalma, he heads the Uptown Market. The Bronx Market is a restaurant fair that introduces food and restaurants to like streets. They're coming to our next meeting on the 6th. And we want as many participants in this meeting. Just to get your input, he is trying to get a permit for Dykeman because he is trying to do a night market in Dykeman. So Liz, thank you so much for connecting us. I invite everyone to come to our next meeting. Thank you. Absolutely. That's what we want. We invite everybody who has recommendations for Latin restaurants.
So what we could do, we'll work with the office to put a flyer together, because for folks who aren't familiar, Uptown Market is huge, amazing.
Yes.
So if that comes up, we definitely want to put a flyer out so folks can come and join the meeting.
Yes. June 6th at 7 o'clock.
Let's make sure we get.
Yeah, Uptown vendors is what we're looking for, right? It's gonna be a tentative date right now is September 15th, because that's the start of Hispanic Heritage Month. And we want this event to be big on Dykeman. So it's a huge event. Come to the meeting, get your input in. Thank you. Maybe, we'll see.
All right, is there any other, okay, I don't see any other, all right, Marielle, are you still with us?
I'm still here.
Okay, because folks I don't want to lose quorum. We have one more item we need to vote on.
And I will be quick. Thank you, Catherine. Are you okay for me to start?
Wait, Marielle, sorry, give me a second, 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah, come Steve, because we're still on reports. I'm just trying to move the reports along.
All right, I would regret letting this opportunity pass without acknowledging the fact that I feel Tanya Bonner was a productive member of my committee, and I feel that it would be a loss to no longer have her on the committee. In fact, she also serves as the chair of the Washington Heights Inwood Task Force on Noise, and one of the speakers at our next committee meeting is somebody from the Department of Environmental Protection, who's going to be discussing how they're using something called noise cameras to enforce the noise code in our district. And so I'm hoping, Catherine, that you will agree to keep her on my committee, at least as a public member, so that she can continue to contribute to our work. And the other thing I want to mention is in terms of the special topic for my next committee meeting on June 1st, is you may have seen in the, if you happen to read the New York Post, that there was a story recently about a study done by NYU on pollutants found in the subway stations at 168th and 181st Street on the number 1 line. And I'm trying to arrange a presentation by the researchers who did that study. And we'll have our regular reports from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, from Columbia University Irving Medical Center, New York Presbyterian Hospital, and the Isabella Geriatric Center. Again, if I regret the fact that it's possible that Tanya will no longer be serving on my committee, and I encourage new members to please take a look at the Health and Environment Committee and consider joining us. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead. We'll take it.
Mr. Sanchez. That's what I said, Estevez.
So hearing sometimes is a bit impaired.
Yeah.
So I got a question regarding, I've been seeing some reports around the internet in regarding to, I know you always give your COVID-19 reports.
Yes.
Ventilators being one of the reasons why people passed is like, that's what's going around. So I'm interested in knowing if there's anything coming soon about that. That's what I'm just, not conspiracy theory. I just saw somebody did a study and contributed ventilators to the amount. It could be false news, but just putting it out there.
I'm sorry, what you saw, Domingo, was that ventilators
contributed to people passing away during COVID-19.
Really?
Yes. I'll share it with you.
Yeah, please. Yeah,
Right, cool.
I have not seen that.
Okay, cool.
All right, Mr. Estevez.
All right, I think that covers it. All right, folks, thank you. It's 9:21. We're pretty behind. I want to move on then to, is there any old business? No. All right, we have a new business. Marielle, I'm gonna put 5 minutes on the clock, because that's what resos do. And this is
Sounds
the,
good.
yeah, and this is resolution F on the impact of housing, mental health, economic and public safety cases on New Yorkers.
That's right. Thank you, Catherine. Not cases, but crises. So ultimately, this resolution came out of my frustration, my anger, honestly, about the killing of Jordan Neely. And I think it unfortunately highlighted the title of the resolution, which is the impact of the intersectionality of our housing crisis, mental health. We heard of, some speakers talk about that earlier, the economic crisis that we're facing in the city, public safety, and really the impact that it's having on New Yorkers across the board. We, in the resolution, we're talking about policies that are currently criminalizing homelessness when we have, ridiculous, rent rates, mental illness is being criminalized, the fact that kind of our city and budget priorities are, having a preference over public safety rather than people-centered approaches and human services for things like the arts and education. We, kind of heard a little bit about that earlier for some of the other things, but also about the fact that a lot of these things have been exacerbated by the pandemic. And as I spoke about earlier, the increased vacancy rates across New York City agencies and evictions and the impact of all of that. One thing that I will note for this resolution that I would like to amend in the resolution, the statistic that's provided for the current number of homeless people sleeping in New York City Department, DHS and HPD shelters in February was 74,762 New Yorkers. Obviously, that does not capture everyone because not everyone is in those systems, but actually there was a new statistic that I recently came across on the comptroller's website, which is the fact from April 2023, about approximately 85,000 New Yorkers are currently in homeless shelters from DHS or emergency response and relief centers. So that goes to further emphasize why we need something. Ultimately, the resolution is calling on the mayor to ensure that these city agencies are well staffed. They're providing quality, but also timely social services and a people-centered approach. And it's also calling on city council to pass legislation and a budget that is people-centered, that is putting people first, to address the needs of New Yorkers. I do just want to say a big thank you to Wayne and Debbie for helping input and kind of, strengthen the resolution. Thanks.
All right,
Thank you, Marielle.
Steve has a hand, and then I don't see any other hands on, so. Steve, you gotta love the mic.
You could try it.
No, I cannot hear you.
Then how did you just respond to me if you couldn't hear me?
So it sounds garbled. Like I hear a voice, but it's like, that's what it sounds like.
Just in case, I told you to talk like this.
Very garbled.
You don't want to.
No, y'all, don't worry.
Well, I think this is on the friendly amendment. According to the Daily News,
I still cannot hear you.
Step away.
It's hard to hear you clearly.
Try it there. Try it there.
how is this?
Better.
Better. Okay. I think I'm offering a friendly amendment. The Daily News reported that Jordan Neely at one time was living in Washington Heights, and that a friend of his would often encounter him on the 181st Street station platform on the number 1 line, or sitting on a staircase near 191st Street between Broadway and Wadsworth Terrace. On other occasions, he appeared near New York Presbyterian Hospital. I wonder whether you'd want to acknowledge in this resolution that Mr. Neely was a former Washington Heights resident, which perhaps gives us another reason to weigh in on this question.
Certainly. Thank you.
That's accepted, Tanisha?
I'm trying to raise my hand.
Okay, Barbara, I got you right after Tanisha.
Thank you.
Hey, yeah, so, can you hear me?
Mariel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I also think that it's important to mention that Jordan had a hard childhood. He was a foster care child. He witnessed his mother he witnessed his mother be murdered, and he had to testify at the trial for the murderer. So I think it's important, if we're talking about mental health and we're talking about a system that has continuously failed Black and brown children from the start. We fight for a lot of foster care children that are going through the same thing now. So it shows a pattern that this system does not help people, even from children. It hurts, it harms, it kills.
Thank you. That certainly can be added. And just to note, on our a month or two ago, we had a presentation from the McCloskey foster care, and we kind of had them talk about how important that is. Thank you.
Okay, so you got that, and then hold on, I see new hands. Barbara, and then Luana. Well, sorry, I had Barbara, then Debbie, then Luana, and we got to wrap up. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to bring out here, and I certainly think this starts to be very well written, especially since it's where your phrase highlights the intersectionality of housing, mental health, economic and public safety crises, and its impact on New Yorkers. I do think that there's somewhat of an imbalance in this, because I mean, certainly such compassion from, Mr. Neely, that he was not, every turn of the road, he was not given the chances in life that he should have been given. But also he impacted many people negatively. And we have to remember that we have a resident in Inwood, a young girl who's now a teenager, and he attempted to kidnap her, and he spent 4 months in jail for that, pled guilty to that, and spent 4 months in jail. So there's a highly traumatized resident, a young woman, teenager in our community that he also impacted. So I do think we have to have in here, where you say in there, in the public safety crisis, that something that does say that not rooting out the root causes of homelessness and mental illness raises the increased public safety, decreases public safety for the general population.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm trying to see, I mean, we do have a little bit about, the fact that we do need kind of more people-centered budgets. And I think that addresses that, but I can certainly, if you can send me something, I think that can be weaved into here in a respectful manner.
Okay.
In other words, that we're being negative.
Barbara, I'm sorry, you took your turn, and I really got to move on. We have a time constraint. Debbie.
Okay. All right, I'll send
Debbie, and then it was Emily? No, it was Luana. Sorry, come on up. Yeah.
Hi. I do want to sort of express my feeling that I raised in executive that there's no bigger crisis than what Marielle has outlined here in this resolution. But I think because of the magnitude of the crisis, which was a crisis before Jordan Neely was murdered on a subway car, that this should have been discussed and had a long discussion in committee, and then it should have come to executive. To do it in new business, I really take issue. This is no way to deal with this. And this has been, this city has been falling apart in these multiple crises, certainly for a long time, but certainly during the pandemic. I think the two resolved are so general. So if we are going to go with this tonight, if we could make them a little more specific, I would suggest that when we say call upon Mayor Adams and we talk about, we want you to provide good services and we want you to hire people to staff these agencies, that we add specificity to what we mean by quality. One suggestion might be drawing from the excellent New Yorker article on Jordan Neely, that homeless, mentally ill, and that part of the crisis, and asking the NYPD to deal with all of it when there are these social services teams that are not funded, and they are minute models, and they work to help people that are suffering, and they are sitting in our jails as the only place to get proper treatment. So I applaud this board for finally taking this up, but it shouldn't have gone down this way. allow me a little extra time. I am sorry if I'm emotional. I deal with this from morning till night and people walking in the door and people are desperate and now people are dying more than they need to be. As it relates to the last whereas, I don't think saying city council passed legislation, that's not specific. I would suggest that we focus on the budget aspect. The budget is preferencing issues of the public safety budget over the social services budget in a time when crime, no matter what we think, is down relative to the magnitude of the crisis. I am not saying that we don't fund the police. I am saying that when we have to pick, when we don't have infinite dollars and we have to make a trade-off, that por favor, can we finally make a trade-off to favor the social services? So I just request, as unfriendly as I don't feel right now on this subject, that we focus on the budget aspects of responding to this crisis and the very important resolves that are reflected here. Thanks again for the hard work of everybody that made this happen. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Debbie, and thank you for the work that you do. On the last bit regarding fleshing out the last resolve as it relates to the budget, yes, that's right. That's a friendly amendment. Your point around talking a little bit more about the quality bit, yes, that's also a friendly amendment. And for your awareness, we're working very closely with Councilmember De La Rosa's office as it relates to the issue of vacancies. And so there's something that will be, her office is working on some stuff regarding that, and we hope to have more information on that soon. And in that case, it will be a lot more specific in terms of the vacancy and the quality of workers across the agencies. Thank you.
Okay, Mario, you have Luana to wrap up.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Oh my God,
You don't have to get too close. It's okay.
who did this? Okay, so thank you very much. Whereas I do agree that this was reprehensible and unavoidable, I'd be remiss as a member of this board that represents diverse opinions and diverse issues that this is definitely a result of a failure in our system, and the death could have been avoided. But that being said, mental health cannot be one-sided. We also have to take into consideration the mental health of our veterans who are coming and are suffering from PTSD. This is a failure of our system where citizens are taking justice in their own hands, resulting in deaths because of a failure of a system. So if we're going to talk about mental health, and please don't kill the shooter, we also have to understand the PTSD of our soldiers. Okay, so I just wanted to bring it to the forefront as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Luana. That point is understood. And, you know, as I said, we had someone from the Department of Veteran Affairs join us recently. So thank you for your point.
Okay, Marielle, do you have all the friendly amendments that you need for this?
I believe so, but if everyone who has shared something, I'll need to listen to the recording. Please send me an email by the end of this week so that I can update the resolution. Thank you.
Okay, so we have to vote. I'm sorry.
Did I mention the John McWhorter essay in the New York Times?
No.
I wanted to leave with that. John McWhorter wrote a fabulous essay in the New York Times. I recommend everybody.
Okay, Luana, can you send it to Marielle? Luana, for folks on the call who didn't hear, spoke to an essay in the New York Times recently. Yeah.
Yeah, by a scholar by the name of John McWhorter.
John McWhorter. Okay. So I'm gonna do my reverse shortcut vote. By asking, is there anyone in opposition? So I'm gonna ask first if someone's in opposition, abstaining, or in conflict. And then and then we're gonna assume if it's not any of those three, that it is a yes, a resounding yes from folks who are present. Am I good, Jim? With that? Or then I gotta call all the yeses if there is somebody. Point of information. As amended, yes.
We need an exact list of everyone who's here because we have to specify who voted in favor. So assuming our attendance is correct as of this moment, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. Therefore, we can generate the list of people who voted in and that will save time. Let me also mention that someone misspoke. It turns out the public can attend most task force. Well, no, the public can attend task forces. However, they may not be able to participate. It may be just like being in the gallery in a court of order, in the court of law. You just get to watch.
Right, we're in planning meeting. All right. So we're gonna start because it is 9:36. Folks gotta go home. Is there anyone abstaining on this? And I'm gonna start with folks in the room first. Are you, Domingo, is that abstaining? Okay, Domingo's an abstention.
I think we should see the final resolution first with these friendly amendments.
No, that's a fair ask. What that means is that we would not be able to vote tonight, given the time. So would it help if we? Okay, so that means we gotta do a roll call. So what just happened right here, folks, is Robert's Rules of Order. A motion was seconded on the floor to have this go to a vote so that in our next general meeting, so that folks can see it as amended. Was
So
that
to-
captured on the mic in the Zoom?
So to clarify, we are voting on tabling
Yes.
the current resolution to next month. That is what we are currently voting on.
To see
Okay.
the final resolution.
To see the final
So
resolution.
at this point, you're gonna.
But we
vote-
never do that for other resolutions. That's my point, but
We,
whatever.
But this has.
hold on,
several
but wait, there's a
several-
motion, Barbara, Marielle, I'm sorry, hold on. There's a motion, right? We don't debate at this time. We gotta vote. So I'm gonna start with the folks on Zoom. And then, Jumi, te la voy a cantar, and then you can, all right. So Barbara, how do you vote to table? Yes,
I
no?
vote to table, yes to table.
Okay. Jonathan,
Yes, to table.
Jay Baez,
No to tabling.
Mencita,
Yes.
Marielle,
No.
Natalia Bedrin,
Yes.
Tracy McNeil.
Abstain.
Okay. All right, and then we're back to, oh no, Joseph.
I'm in favor of how it is right now.
Okay, so that's a no. All right, I'm gonna go by what I see.
I'll go.
Yeah, go down the road then.
Joel,
Yes, today.
actually, let's do it instead of going.
Just go
around
through
and
the
get a
roles.
vote.
yeah.
Isidro,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Luis,
Yes.
Steve,
No.
Debbie,
Yes.
Carmen,
Yes.
Jay,
Yeah.
Jay Mazer, yes.
amazing. Heidi,
Yes.
Indiana,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Nobles,
No.
Anthony,
Yes.
Domingo,
Yes.
Emily,
No.
Wayne,
No.
Tanisha,
No.
James,
No.
Jacob,
No.
Elsie,
Yes.
Bruce,
That was-
Yes, yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Alvin,
Yes.
Phil,
No.
Luana,
Yes to tabling.
Michelle,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Simati,
No.
Angel Vasquez, no.
Sorry, Jimmy voted you what?
Yes.
Jim said no, sorry, hold on, let me get, Jim said no to, Jumina said what?
Jimena said yes.
Okay. And then I say yes.
Yes.
Can I change my vote to no? It's Mencita.
Yes. Yes, you can
Thank
do it. All right.
Thank you.
That motion passes. That motion passes, so, what we can do is, sorry, Marielle, with the friendly amendments that you have tonight, can you circulate that in the next week to the office? Because it was presented here for new business, we're gonna have to present it again in the next month and not necessarily to a committee, if I got that right. No, it was presented here as new business unless we send it to committee.
The chair could decide to send it to a committee if the chair wishes.
Oh, okay. All right, got it. All right, I'll get back. I'm seeing are these new hands after the vote for the, I'm sorry, after the vote on the motion?
Yes, I have a new hand.
That's who, yes, Mario?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, go
Um,
ahead.
Yes, so in order for me to, since this has been tabled, if everyone who provided an amendment, please send it to me so that I can incorporate that into the resolution so that it can be considered next month. If you can send that to me by the end of this week, that'd be really helpful. Thanks.
Certainly.
All right. Perfect. So given the time, it is 9:42. We are well over. We've wrapped up our new business. I do see, I know there were hands. Welcome to Sheila, a civic student observing. All right, so Jumina, while our meeting's going on and while we wrap up, is going to do the tally if folks want to stick around to see how things panned out. One, shout out to everybody for showing up on time. We're 10 minutes late, which isn't bad. With 17 items, we were worried because it's been a while since we have this many results in a meeting. That usually would be till 11. So 9:42, shout out to us. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining for our folks on Zoom. We will see you on Zoom for our committee meetings and our, motion. Thank you. I know. I know, I'm sorry. Espérate. I'm gonna put it in the no. No, que la presión de.
Yeah, maybe not the best time to try to talk to her. She's focused at the moment.
Hey. Yeah, lots of good. What you said? Lots. Are you